attacks in the future as he addressed Lebanon from an undisclosed bunker. The reality is that 2/3 of the rockets and missiles that were prepared to launch were actually destroyed by the Israeli military.
Fox's Trey Yinks. The Harris campaign's looking for a rule change in the next presidential debate.
The Harris-Trump debate, September 10th on ABC. The Harris campaign is telling Fox in a statement that unlike the Biden-Trump debate, quote, we have told ABC and other networks seeking to host a possible October debate that we believe both candidates' mics should be live throughout the full broadcast. Our understanding is that Trump's handlers prefer the muted microphones because they don't think their candidate can act presidential for 90 minutes on his own. The Trump team has a rebuttal to that. They say, we accepted the ABC debate under the exact same terms as the CNN debate.
And former President Trump tells reporters it doesn't matter to him. He'd probably rather have the mics on. America's listening to Fox News.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish and just kind of blah.
Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites.
But I suppose they taste blah.
Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go.
Toss one in my bag?
Ha, get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The last week of August, and it is all about hardcore summer heat. Lots of sunshine going through our Monday afternoon. Hot with moderate humidity, 98. Tonight, clear, warm, 90s this evening, 78 for the low. Tuesday, sunny, hot, moderate humidity, 100 degrees. The record on Tuesday is 102. Wednesday and Thursday, partly sunny, hot with some spot thunderstorms, 98. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
JenTeskeHomes.com. That's the website you can go directly to. Jen Teske, Teske, homes.com. If you are looking to buy or sell in Illinois, she's the best. Her team is the best. And she is with RE/MAX Alliance. She has a whole support system behind her to make sure that she can deliver for you the absolute best possible experience when it comes to listing a home in Illinois to sell. Or if you're on the other side of that and you are looking to buy, maybe you're looking to do both. 618-541-1010. That's the number to get directly to Jen Teske. She has decades of experience in real estate, and she is an expert when it comes to the Metro East area, specifically areas like Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Maryville, Troy, Collinsville, and those surrounding areas. She knows her stuff, and that translates immediately to you when you hire her to make sure that your home lists and sells for top dollar. If you're interested in listing your home now, if you're interested in listing your home in, I don't know, the undefined foreseeable future, Jen Teske will guide you through the process, and you'll be so glad you met her. 618-541-1010, JenTeskeHomes.com.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, Make Jules on Hampton your first stop. Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
Nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
And some Frank's Red Hot.
Nah.
You're just gonna eat these boring nachos with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up! This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Afghanistan.
Yes.
Were you the last person in the room?
Yes.
And you feel comfortable?
I do.
Dozens were killed when multiple bombs went off near Kabul's Hamid Karzai airport Thursday.
We know that at least 13 U.S. service members were killed in the blast.
He claimed that on his watch, we have not lost any American troops. The lives of no American troops have been lost as long as he's been president. Obviously, that is not true. Apparently, he's already forgotten about the 13 American heroes who were lost with his disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. These are their names, Mr. President. These are their names. Marine Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover. Marine Sergeant Johanny Rosario Pichardo. Marine Sergeant Nicole G. Marine Corporal Hunter Lopez. Marine Corporal Dagan Page. Marine Corporal Humberto Sanchez. Marine Lance Corporal David Espinoza. Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Marine Lance Corporal Riley McCollum. Marine Lance Corporal Dylan Marola. Marine Lance Corporal Kareem Nakui. Navy Petty Officer 3rd Class Maxton Soviak. Army Staff Sergeant Ryan Knaus. We will honor their memory.
We will honor their memory, and we are doing that today here on the Annie Fry Show. 3 years since the tragic Afghanistan withdrawal. And, of course, we saw there at the beginning of that clip how Kamala Harris was very confidently the last person in the room, and she felt very comfortable with the way Afghanistan wrapped up. One of the main reasons I wanted to play that clip is Speaker Mike Johnson, whose voice you heard there, the male voice you heard in there, was highlighting Joe Biden in the debate so arrogantly and yet simultaneously, as is often the case, ignorantly, talking about not having lost any American lives. Where is Joe Biden today? What is he doing? What is the president? He's the president, folks. He is the guy. Where is he? What is he doing? Where's Kamala Harris? I saw where Donald Trump was. He was at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at wreath-laying ceremony for these members who were lost. And when I was watching that process this morning, which admittedly has more of an effect on me now that I've been to watch the changing of the guard, and I've been to Arlington, and I've seen the view out over Washington, D.C. from the steps with which Donald Trump stood with the loved ones of those who were lost, who were being acknowledged with that wreath-laying ceremony. And man, that's a heavy lift for the heart and for the soul to stand there and take that in. And Donald Trump was there. Joe Biden wasn't. Kamala Harris wasn't. And you almost say to yourself, like, I guess they can't be, because the man who's the president of the United States at the debate, when he essentially ended his candidacy for re-election, so ridiculously stated that he hadn't lost any lives. Some of the gaslighting that takes place in campaigns and politics and stuff, it's super annoying, right? But then there are other times where the gaslighting, the lies, and the deceit are so offensive and so raw in the sense that they're just trying to say things that are going to somehow or another emit some sort of action out of you that supports that political party. What about these 13 that are lost? Fox News reports many conservatives have marked the 30th anniversary of the dead Abbey Gate bombing that killed 13 Americans during the Biden administration's Afghanistan withdrawal by unearthing poorly aged comments by Vice President Kamala Harris. Monday marks 3 years since the August 26, 2021 suicide bombing at the airport, which killed 13 American service members and more than 100 Afghans. Islamic State terrorists claim responsibility for the attack. Roughly 4 months before the tragic terrorist attack, Harris talked about her role during a CNN interview in which she confirmed she was the last person in the room before Biden made the deadly decision to pull U.S. troops out of Afghanistan. We don't deal with honest brokers. We don't deal with honest people. We don't deal in truth. We deal solely in manipulable emotions that cause us to feel more than we think. And sometimes it's easy to do that. Other times it's not. Other times it's so patently offensive that they would believe you to be so stupid that this is the ultimate result, is that they can say things like Joe Biden said, that they can stand there and believe that they can peddle something so incredibly false as to say, no, I haven't lost any American lives. We remember them today. One of them is a child of ours, a St. Louisan. And we mourn Schmitz here locally, as well as the rest of them. The big news coming out of this past weekend, of course, we covered it live as it happened here. RFK Jr. not ending his campaign, but suspending his campaign. There's a lot of conversation surrounding the ultimate outcome of that. The fallout, if you will, the collateral damage. A lot is to be made about it. And if you consider the 2% or 3% or maybe 5% that he might be pulling in certain places, how that might help swing an election, it seems as though we are in a moment where this pivotal shuffling of the deck could lend itself to a dramatic shift in the support that goes into this November election. I am excited to talk to Joe Concha about that at 1:25 on the show. Steve Moore is going to join us at 1:05. So right at the top of the 1 o'clock hour, we got Steve Moore, followed by Joe Concha. And I'm going to ask Steve Moore to talk to us a little bit about those terms, unrealized gains, and also price gouging. These two major economic plans that the left, led by Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, are doubling down on. Are your retirement savings going to be taxed? If you inherit an estate from your loved one, is that going to be taxed into oblivion under a Harris-Walz administration? Steve Moore's watching all of these things closely. Of course, he is an economic advisor for Donald Trump. And he is going to talk to us about that at 1:05. And then we'll hear what Joe Concha has to say about the RFK Jr. announcement and endorsement of Donald Trump at 1:25. Let's listen to RFK Jr., who spoke with Shannon Bream this Sunday on Fox.
Have you all negotiated over or talked about a cabinet position, another position within a Trump government in exchange for your endorsement?
No. There's been no commitments. But I met with President Trump, with his family, with his closer advisors, and we just made a general commitment that we were going to work together.
So RFK Jr. telling Shannon Bream there that they haven't, there's no like super strongly negotiated, I'm going to do this and you're going to give me that, and I'm going to get this role and I need this many roles to support this role, and so on and so forth. They have common focus and goals, and they are going to work together on that. It is so refreshing to listen to RFK Jr. speak in his speech from Friday and talk about the fact that they have that RFK Jr. and Donald Trump have a lot of similar goals. And RFK Jr. said, I was kind of even shocked that they met with a common focus on much more than he really expected them to have. Now, there are also things that they have a dramatic departure from one another. But RFK Jr. said something that is not being as elevated in all of his remarks as much as some other ones that were also good. But he basically said, we see eye to eye on certain things, so we're going to focus on those things. We're going to come together on the things we agree on and try to make a positive difference. And we're not going to let the things we disagree on keep us from having conversations about where we can mutually benefit one another to make America great again, healthy again, whatever the case might be. And honestly, I think that's like the most common way of looking at things, but we've been put into a political society that is chock full of people who, should you be taking a photo with somebody else? Should you have a conversation with somebody else? Should you be discussing issues or progress with somebody else who doesn't appropriately align in all of the important ways, according to what some other judge, jury, and committee panel about, oh, did you see they were talking to them? I mean, you become a pariah for just even suggesting that you might have a conversation with somebody who doesn't agree with you on other things. No wonder we don't get anything done. One of the things about Congress specifically is that it's supposed to move at a glacial pace. We're not supposed to have 538 members in Washington, D.C. that can just, with a snap, enact legislation and regulation on you with ease. There has to be a pretty significant consensus among all sorts of different people in order to actually make progress happen, which limits government, not you. The limitation and the regulation in that regard is put on the government structure so that they can't over-govern and over-regulate and over-legislate you, because you are at the top of this pyramid. There's the Constitution, and there's you, and then there's government. When you really put it in the lens of that way, it's like you should really have the focus that we should just come together. We should talk about the things that we all agree on so we can get those things done. But in 2024, if everybody obviously agrees on something, what ends up happening to that bill? A whole bunch of pork gets put into it. A whole bunch of other little things get put into it so that if you vote for one bill, they have something else in there that they can nefariously throw against you in a campaign ad that says, oh, you voted against this. You're like, well, no, I actually voted for that, but you stuck that thing in at the bottom of the ninth. This is how they play the game. And RFK Jr. and Donald Trump are tearing the game apart. They are tearing it down. And I'm going to tell you this as well. There are going to be things that come out of this partnership, this idea of a unity government. There are going to be things that come out of this that you're not going to like. There are going to be policy positions that you're going to say, well, that's not conservative. This isn't about being conservative. The thing that Donald Trump has done the entire time that he has been living in the world of politics, the thing that he has done is challenged the system, is challenged the bureaucracy that stays the same no matter who the people choose to send into the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy swallows those people whole and spits them out when they're done with them. Just ask Joe Biden. What Donald Trump has done, and I'm pretty sure this is why they hate him so much, is that he doesn't go to Washington, D.C. to beat Democrats. He's going to Washington, D.C. to beat Washington, D.C. He's going to Washington, D.C. to bring the people back into the system. Because what the system does is it manipulates people like you and me to think that the fight is between the Democrats and the Republicans and blue and red, when, in fact, those blue and red Republican and Democrats get into Washington, D.C., they kind of get absorbed by the fabric and they become one. And then instead of working to preserve our freedoms, they work to preserve their legacy. And when Donald Trump goes to Washington, D.C. and changes the game and renames the opponent, They go, whoa, what are you doing here? This is not how it works. And Donald Trump says it's how it works now. And RFK Jr. coming into this conversation is direct evidence that other people want a change. So I will remind you, hopefully for the next 4 years, when we're living in Donald Trump's America, I will remind you that the goal here is not to remake the Republican Party. We're not creating Reagan Republicans to where we're now Trump Republicans. We're making America great again. And an America that is great has a Republican Party, has a Democrat Party. It might have another party if RFK Jr. gets out of this what he hopes to in some of these states across the nation and gets 5% of the vote. Which means more voices at the table, which means more people, in theory, will be heard because Washington, D.C., if Donald Trump is successful, Washington, D.C. will once again serve the American people, as opposed to the American people showing up every election cycle to serve Washington, D.C. And God willing, along the way, while he recalibrates that entire system, the Republican Party gets to think about who the Republican Party wants to be. Conservatives start thinking again about what it means to be fiscally conservative and not spending money you don't have that your grandchildren will have to make good on in the future if they should be given that opportunity. And the Democrat Party will also have the opportunity to decide if they want to be the Hamas supporting party. They will have to be the party that decides whether or not they don't want to help the little guy. They just want to provide for the little guy, assuming that little guy just always wants the handout, not the hand up. The Democrat Party will have to do as much soul searching in the future in a Donald Trump second term as the Republican Party will. And possibly, once that's done, we will have a reshapen Democrat Party and Republican Party for Americans to consider, and a viable third party for the first time in our nation's history that actually is going to be a part of the conversation. And that'll be on RFK Jr. to determine if he can be successful or not. Understand who is trying to be defeated in this election. Harris is a representative. She's a puppet face for the left. They picked her. The party did. The people sure didn't. Donald Trump is trying to upend the system. And he's going to need people who don't see eye to eye with him on every policy 100% top to bottom in order to do it. And he's doing it. RFK Jr. is evidence of that. Our YouTube poll for today, an interesting question because the answer to this question, there's a follow-up question, of course, naturally to it. But who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? Who is more unlikable? And, I think, of course, if you're a Republican, well, you're like, Harris is more unlikable. I want you to step back from your own political leanings on this and pay attention to who they are, how they have chosen to present themselves to the American people, and answer this question and let us know what you think. If you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you will see the YouTube live chat poll in, you bet it, you got it, the YouTube live chat, and go vote. Tell us what you think. Leave a comment if you so choose. Gary said, I said Harris is more unlikable. If you don't believe me, just ask one of over 90% of her staff that quit. That is a story that has continued throughout the course of her time. She has not had a good run with people who work for her. Let us know what you think. We'll be back with more on RFK Jr. when we come back. Don't go away.
It's been a long time coming.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
We'll pick up the pieces as we go. So go ahead and walk. And
Stewart's American Mortgage is the bagel loan guy. You know him as the bagel loan guy, and he calls it the bagel loan because bagels look like zeros. And that's just simply to remind you that if you get a mortgage through Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, or if you qualify for a bagel loan refinance through Stewart's American Mortgage, you pay zero in closing costs. It's really that simple. It's not really a bagel loan might sound like it's going to be complicated because why a bagel? But that's really that easy. Zero in closing costs. I've refinanced twice with Stewie. able to secure a much lower rate when I did that both times. Rates have come down from their highs of the last 18 months, 2 years possibly. So if you want to secure a lower rate as they are coming down significantly, you can do that with Stewie by calling him directly or texting him directly at 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. If you Google the bagel loan, you'll get connected to Stewart's American Mortgage as well. NMLS number 226715.
Many people dream of playing the piano, but few ever do. Hi, this is Kathy from Lacefield Music. And as adults, they're afraid it will take too long, be too hard, or that they'll fail. And this is true with many piano lessons, but not with Lacefield Music's 8-week adult piano course. In this course, you will learn to read music, play your favorite songs, and have fun in just 8 weeks. Lacefield Music's 8-week adult piano class is always $99. But twice a year, Lacefield Music opens the course up to the public for only $29.99. That's only $29.99 for all 8 weeks. Classes are starting in September and class size is limited. So go to lacefieldmusic.com or call 636-778-2070 to sign up. The website again is lacefieldmusic.com or 636-778-2070.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Show feedback or topic commentary.
Whiskey Dickerson Annie Fry t-shirt is literally the most comfortable shirt I have ever worn in my entire life.
Let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Love is hard, love is strong. You will never say that you were wrong. I don't know when I got bitter, but love is surely better when it's gone. 'Cause you wanted more than I could give, more than I could handle. The life that I can't live, you wanted more than I could bear, more than I could offer, for a love that is in there.
In the states where I would have been a spoiler, I'm going to get out. So it's about 10 states.
So 10 states, RFK Jr. is pulling his name off of the ticket. And, I think that the result of this, I was trying really hard on Friday to not get too excited. But, Brad, I'm still as excited as I was Friday about the RFK Jr. news.
It's kind of a big deal. I mean, one of the measures that I use to figure out if I should be excited about something or how effective something is I'll look at how the other side is reacting to it.
How's that going?
And they got all the Kennedys they could to disavow RFK Jr. Everybody's like, it's not a big deal. It's not really. It doesn't matter. He's kind of crazy.
It's not a big deal. I can't do Trump.
Oh, man.
But to me, like the idea that somehow or another Trump is, or Kennedy's family is going against him is just more to the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. And the other thing is, too, I am certain that I don't agree 100% politically with the rest of my family. That we have our differences, and that is completely normal. Rolling somebody's family out there to say we disagree with them doesn't in any way ruin their opinion or anything like that. I mean, it really all it does is like you were saying, is it reinforces what RFK Jr. was saying, that this is kind of a cult, and that when you leave the cult, they're going to come after you, and they don't treat people fairly, because if you're not in lockstep with what the people want to do, they're going to ruin you.
Well, let's see here. I'm looking through some polls right here, and it's the realclearpolling.com reports that are coming in here. I've got the 270 to win map up for us to look at here. And the big questions are Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Virginia is one that I think is being under talked about. And that's just because Glenn Youngkin there has been doing the Lord's work, cleaning those voter rolls. Was that a Youngkin story that you sent over the weekend about how many?
It was like, yeah, that was Youngkin, 80,000 or something like that.
It was like 80,000 dead people?
Yeah, something like that.
And maybe 6,000 or something illegal immigrants that were registered
voters on the Virginia rolls.
Now, if Pennsylvania doesn't clean up their act and Virginia is doing this type of stuff, I think that I mean, there could foreseeably be a situation where Pennsylvania goes blue and Virginia goes red, and it doesn't matter. Polls based on, let's see, Sunday, August 25th. So this is a yesterday poll. Michigan, Trump versus Harris. Harris 48, Trump 46. So Harris plus 2. Mm-hmm. When you add in Kennedy and Cornel West and Jill Stein, Harris is up just 1. So in that instance, they're taking Harris out, and it looks as though it could be potentially helping Kamala Harris. Friday, Kennedy involved in a New Mexico poll. Harris is up plus 11, and when it's just the two of them facing off, it's Harris plus 10. So I don't know that New Mexico is really in a big conversation to switch, but I don't know what we're looking at going forward. Nationally, Trump is up, according to Rasmussen, as of last Thursday. So this is before the RFK Jr. Announcement. Trump was plus 3 nationally, according to Rasmussen. He was up just 2 when Kennedy is involved. And Kennedy has 4 points in that one. Harris 45, Trump 47, Kennedy 4. So in a poll where they're divided by 2 people, this is when RFK Jr. was still actively in the race, when they're divided by 2 points, Kennedy has 4. That is enormously consequential for Kennedy to drop out for somebody, for somewhere. And if Kennedy is out there saying, hey, if you supported me and you're in a swing state, you need to vote for Trump. I can't imagine that the people who were very passionately interested in voting and supporting RFK Jr. are going to be like, I love everything you say, except that I'm not doing it. There are going to be some who do, because there's some who can't stomach Donald Trump, which kind of goes to our YouTube poll for today. Who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? I think the unlikable part, that question, is the question that RFK Jr. voters are asking themselves right now. Because the RFK Juniors that are going to go support Donald Trump dislike Kamala Harris to a greater degree, and the Democrat Party that she represents, which is probably a bigger portion of it.
Yeah, that's something that I've been thinking about a lot. It's like I think whenever Kamala Harris entered into the race, one of the things you saw RFK's support drop. He was in the 10s, 12s sometimes, and then Harris enters the race. Well, the people that really didn't like Donald Trump but also didn't like Joe Biden said, I can do Kamala Harris. I can roll with that. So they peeled off of RFK, and they're already in Harris's camp now. So it's like, who's left in the RFK camp? Those that really don't want Kamala Harris or Joe Biden.
Do you think that RFK Jr., I actually respect him a lot for this. He's not jumping into this Trump camp. It doesn't feel like he's doing it on Trump's terms. He's doing it on his own terms, which also, in due fashion, makes me respect Donald Trump even more for saying, we need a bigger tent. Mm-hmm. We need more people in our tent. It's not like, hey, here's our tent, RFK Jr. folks. If you want to be a part of this, you just got to come in and fit where you can fit. It's, all right, let's make some more room. Let's get a new space. Let's make that tent a little bit bigger so that people who look at RFK Jr. and what he really is, in my opinion, spotlighting the most broadly is the game, the swamp. It's all set up against the American individual. Most of what he's talking about is more health related with certainly with COVID, with vaccines, with the way we manage and operate food and big pharma and all that stuff. That's where he comes in large part. I don't think that any of that stuff is diametrically opposed to conservative value.
No, I wouldn't see how any of it is. I look at it, I go, this is, I want healthy food. I want to make sure that there's not different chemicals in my food. I want to make sure that the FDA has the American people in mind, not the interest of pharma companies or anything like that. They look at this and they say, yeah, this drug is safe. Yeah, this drug is not safe. And it doesn't matter who is donating what or lobbying what to try to get things passed. I want things to be safe. Like that's the core, one of the core functions of government is to ensure that the quote unquote, the water's clean, to make sure that the stuff that we take in is safe. And
it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to just put some states here right now. The decideds, the blue states and the red states, according to 270 to win, which, this is just frustrating the heck out of me. 270 to win, which takes the average polling and places red states and blue states essentially where they're going to fit in the most reasonably, especially considering Georgia and Governor Kemp's words towards the end of the last week, in which really was an important story that got swallowed up by the RFK Jr. thing. Kemp came out and said, we got to do everything we can to make sure that Donald Trump wins. Like we got no options. Mm-hmm. I'm doing everything I can do. And you got to do everything you need to do to make sure that he wins. Right now, with the polls as they are, Republicans have 235 electoral votes in red states, and Democrats have 226 electoral votes in blue states. And if you make Georgia go red, that gets us up to 251. I feel much better about Georgia than I have felt about Georgia essentially ever since we've been talking about Donald Trump being in an election. And the fact that Georgia is somehow or another a swing state or a purple state is really agitating to me.
Well, it's wild because you look back to 2020 and you talk about Stacey Abrams against Governor Kemp, and it wasn't close. Kemp won pretty handily, but Donald Trump lost. So that Kemp endorsement, to me, that tells me that Kemp has a good ground game there, and he's going to throw that effort behind Donald Trump, and that actually might help get out the vote more. Like you were saying, I think it helps.
Kemp's support in Georgia has always been solid.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to remember, this is the Stacey Abrams state. And Stacey Abrams being like the original election denier. Well, I don't know. There have been many. But Stacey Abrams still thinks that she should be the governor of Georgia, and it's not the case. I mean, sorry, you lost. I mean, you just did. And I wouldn't consider myself to be an election denier as much as other people would, just because, of course, I'm a Republican. So if you put Georgia red, that goes to 251. So he needs 19 more. Where do you go? Do you think? I mean, Arizona looks like they won that Supreme Court 5-4 case. If you get Arizona, you're still not there. So it's Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. If you added Nevada, it doesn't get you there. You got to win Pennsylvania. If you could lose Arizona and win you could just win Georgia and Pennsylvania. And you've got 270.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia is 13 electoral votes. Pennsylvania is 19. Georgia is 16. Arizona is 11. When you go up to the northern states, Michigan is 15. Wisconsin is 10. Minnesota is 10. Minnesota doesn't strike me as a state that is going to, especially with Tim Walz there, I feel like that is the only sense that was made of picking him as the vice president, except for I know a lot of people in Wisconsin and they hate that man. I mean, like if you want to talk to people about Tim Walz, just go to a Minnesota. I don't know. I'm running in these more conservative circles, and so I'm exposed to the people that are more on the right of the aisle, but they despise him. And I feel like when they talk about Tim Walz, I feel like we have this a kindred relationship with how I feel about my governor, J.B. Pritzker. But Georgia and Pennsylvania, that's where it's at. If either of these northern states, Michigan and Wisconsin specifically, my opinion is if Michigan or if Minnesota goes red, it's going to be a blowout.
Game over, yeah.
Yes. I want to encourage you to consider the value of if we could get Michigan or Wisconsin in the Trump side, everything becomes much more doable, because if Pennsylvania goes blue but Wisconsin goes red, and then you can get an Arizona and or a Nevada. I mean, if you get Georgia, Wisconsin, and Arizona, 272.
Yep,
and you need 270 to win. So to me, it's like Pennsylvania it's not a must win, but everything becomes much more complicated if you lose it. Like if you get Pennsylvania, Trump's likely going to be the president. Georgia, I feel very good about that. But if you can pull a Michigan or a Wisconsin into the mix for Trump, then we will, in my opinion, be celebrating before we get to the West Coast.
Yeah, and actually, we'll basically know. This is what you said. We'll know fairly early on if this is going to be a slog or if this is going to be a blowout.
Go to Wisconsin and register people to vote. That's what you need to do. That's what I'm trying to do. I talked to some of the people at the Turning Point Action who are doing a Chase the Vote thing. I know that the RNC is doing Swamp the Vote. That's funny. When I talked to the people at Turning Point about following up with them, they said that they have like 10,000 requests in right now.
Holy cow.
And they have they're pushing through it so much to get everybody out and get everybody motivated, but people want to participate in the system. And I was very heartened by that. So get yourself that Turning Point Action app and sign up, Chase the Vote. You can do stuff from your house. You don't have to go to a swing state, but you can. I'm going to try. I hope the show is going to be able to participate in that. Lots of paths for the president, former president, to be able to win, but it's going to take everything. And as they continue to say, it's got to be too big to rig. Way too big to rig. Let's win all the states. Let's do a Mondale thing. All right, let's take a quick break. Wiggins America. When we come back, he'll give us the Monday roundup, everything we missed over the weekend while we were obsessing over that RFK Jr. announcement. We'll find out what we missed from Wiggins when we come back. Don't go away.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I've talked to you about Lutheran education, how important it is to me. I am a product of Lutheran grade schools here in the St. Louis bi-state region. Went to high school to Lutheran school, send my kids to a Lutheran school, and am so I'm passionately grateful that that opportunity exists for my kids. And I'm here to remind you that if you've been considering an alternative, I've even heard kids that are dealing with public schools, starting public schools now, maybe in high school level or whatever, and it's just not going well. It's not what you expected. Folks, there's still time. If you're looking for an elementary school in the area, there are a ton of them all throughout the bi-state region. You can also check out the high schools that are here, lesastl.org/Annie. I want to talk to you about an event, though, that is huge for raising funds for kids to be able to attend these Lutheran schools, to support Lutheran education. It's BREW in the Lou. You've heard about it. St. Louis is celebrating St. Louis at St. Louis's premier fall festival at Francis Park. Make sure that you check out this amazing event that is coming up this fall. If you are interested in tickets, I will have all the information for you, and you can go check out this event. Enjoy wonderful brews, good Lutheran beverages, as we like to say. Four Hands Brewery, Schlafly Boulevard, Narwhals, Villa Antonio. All proceeds benefit Metro Lutheran schools through LESA. The website is brewinthelou.com. And if you're looking about more information for Lutheran education, it's lisastl.org/Annie.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. This could be your final opportunity to secure the carefree villa home of your dreams at the Preserve in Afton. Our homes provide a lifestyle of convenience and relaxation, free from the hassles of lawn care, landscaping, and snow removal. With prices starting in the 400s, we will build to order or select from one of our 6 move-in ready designer market homes and save thousands, including special 3.9% financing if qualified. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Steve Moore is on Fox News right now talking about some Kamala-nomics, and he'll be on with us in just a few minutes as well. Wiggins America is next. The poll today, who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? Let us know what you think by typing in Annie Fry into YouTube, and the live stream will come up as well as that poll, which you can vote in. 12:48, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tucker Carlson is paying Missouri a visit, and we're inviting you to join us to see him for free on September 12th at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Tickets are on sale now, but you can register for a chance to win online at 971talk.com now until August 30th.
I am so high, I can hear heaven. I'm so high, I can hear heaven. Oh, but heaven, no heaven, don't hear me. And they say that a hero.
Wiggins. Monday Roundup. Yeah. This here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Here we go. You ready for the ride?
Maybe.
Here's everything you missed this weekend.
I'll let you know in the middle of it.
You know how people love celebrities?
Yes.
And you know how
I lament
people
it.
hear celebrities like endorse somebody and they go, oh man, he just endorsed Kamala Harris. I love Kamala Harris now because I love that guy. Well, the list of celebrities that was at the DNC, Eva Longoria, Ben Stiller, Octavia Spencer, Oprah, Mindy Kaling, among others, John Legend, Stevie Wonder, Pink. They were all there to support Kamala Harris. So if you love celebrities, you might think, man, I'm loving Kamala Harris. But what do you do now that Zach Galifianakis on the other side is saying, it seemed like it was too much celebrities. He says, quote, as a small town guy from North Carolina, I do wish the DNC would step back from the celebrities a little bit, he told Variety. It works to a point, but they have to win over rural America. Hollywood thinks it's so important, and that's a problem. Actors are people too, and they're citizens too, but I'm more on the small town side of that than I am on the Hollywood side of that. That's just me. So if you support celebrities, what are you supposed to do? Because now you have two different sides of celebrities telling you that maybe celebrities aren't the way to vote.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're people and they have different opinions.
It is almost as if. So, just wanted to let you know where Zach Galifianakis was in case you were wowed by the DNC last week.
This is everything we missed over the weekend?
That was everything you missed over the weekend.
That's the lead.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I almost led with this. Some weekends, there's a lot. This weekend, not quite as much. Do you think that the celebrity endorsement thing did get out of hand, though? Because I was thinking back to it and going, man, this thing was super glossy. It was very well done.
Are you talking about the DNC?
The DNC.
I honestly didn't see any celebrities. I mean, Oprah.
Aside from Oprah, you didn't see anybody.
Sean Astin.
Who else was there?
Sean Astin did one of the roll call things. So did Little John.
Nobody knows who Sean Astin is.
Little John was Georgia, I think.
John Legend.
Oh, you mean at the actual DNC, not the video thing?
Little John. Yeah, Little John.
John Legend, I saw him.
You saw the roll call.
Not really.
That was maybe in clips, but it was Little John.
In clips. Yeah. That's cool. I'm happy with Little John everything.
I know. It was fun.
Yeah.
But if that's all it was, it does, in the moment, I was watching it thinking, man, this is really well done. But then I stepped away from it going, what exactly did I take from this?
Well, I mean, so what? They were there to entertain, and they entertained.
Yes.
Okay, goodbye.
Yes. But if that was all it is, which is what my point, I feel like I didn't really learn anything because I would like to. And obviously I have a slant here. We all do. But I wanted to hear something of substance, even if it was just to criticize.
From Lil Jon?
No, not from Lil Jon, but from the whole DNC. And I
you
felt
want him
like
to say, no.
That would have been fine. That would have been something I could talk about.
So awesome.
All right.
Get it.
Since that was the lead, you'll be amazed by the rest of these.
You have famously talked about how it's really important to set the bar low.
Yeah. You kind of gradually go up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to lead with the biggest story. That's why when people tune into my show, they're like, just forget the beginning. Tune in at the end. We've talked about this theoretically, but it's here, you guys. Uber says that by next year, so that's not too far away, you will be able to hail a self-driving car for your rides. It's here. And by here, I mean the coasts. It probably won't be here in St. Louis, but in 2025, you will have the option to hail a cruise robo-taxi via the Uber app if your region supports it. I can't remember where we came down on this. Would you ride in a self-driving car?
What do you think?
I think you're a no.
I'm a hell no.
But I'm a yes.
I'm also not surprised.
I'm shocked.
I think that would be so fun. And I really hope we get to the point where self-driving cars are common, because you can just take a trip to Montana and sleep the whole night and wake up in a different state and you're on vacation.
Avon wants to know what you learned from Hulk Hogan at the RNC.
I learned the word brother.
Just now. Make America great again.
Yeah. I learned how to tear a shirt and how not to.
Mm-hmm.
He got caught about halfway through. So he pulled.
Was that all you learned?
Yeah, that's about it.
Because what I learned about him is that he loves the country and that he thinks that the country is not headed in the right direction. And the biggest thing about it was that he was quiet about it for a really long time because it was not in vogue for somebody of his stature and celebrity to come out and say, no, I actually think that this guy might have the right path and the right attitude about the future of the country. And I'm tired of being told to be quiet, so I'm not going to be quiet anymore. And then he ripped his shirt open. It said, brother, and oh yeah, or something. Is he the oh yeah guy?
No, that's Randy Savage.
Yeah, Macho
so
Man.
Close to getting that right.
Yeah. If he had, that would be big news too. If Hulk Hogan had snapped into a Slim Jim, big news.
But I would say, too, like to Avon's point, see, there's a broad understanding of what people get from a celebrity, substance or brother and shirt ripping.
Yeah, I didn't get a whole lot from the celebrities. But I also, the point is not that you get a lot out of the celebrities. The point is that they're fun, and then you get substance elsewhere. I didn't get any substance elsewhere at the DNC is what I was saying. All right, next one. If you find yourself having a hard time following your favorite TV shows without subtitles, it might not be because there's anything wrong with your hearing. It might be because you have a little-known condition called auditory processing disorder, APD. About 5% of the population has this, where you hear information and you just have a hard time turning it into relevant brain waves. You can't really process the audio. I would think that if you're listening to the radio right now, probably not affecting you. But if you have family members, you might want to have a little grace for them because they have a harder time processing the audio than you do. There you go. Most important news from the weekend, from what was not a busy weekend.
RFK Jr. dropped out of the race on Friday. That's what sucked up the air, I guess. Steve Moore on Kamalanomics. I keep having to practice that word out loud. When we come back, unrealized gains, are those legit going to be taxed under a Harris ticket? Man, that's all you really need to know, isn't it? Steve Moore in a minute.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs.
Picking up Oscar! Your Labor Day plans coming up here. You got to stop by Midwest WINGFEST and make a night of it. Friday and Saturday, August 30th and 31st. Go to MidwestWingFest.com for all the details. I'll give you a few right now. You can get your tickets there as well. $5 for anybody 12 and over. And guess what? All of the money made by all the profit from this amazing event, which I've attended and love to talk about, goes to support combat wounded soldiers and the families of local fallen heroes. So you get to attend a local event celebrating the very best among us, heroes among us. And you get to take in lots of wings. You can get a VIP ticket, upgrade that $5 ticket. You can do that online at MidwestWingFest.com. And in that VIP tent, you're going to get unlimited chicken wings from Dandy Inn and beer from Chick Fritz distributors, as well as private restrooms. You can enjoy great music, plenty of drinks, awesome experience for the whole family this Labor Day weekend. All the details at MidwestWingFest.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Gold medal honors. I'm Therese Crowley, Fox News. For the Gold Star families, House Speaker Mike Johnson plans to award congressional gold medals to the 13 U.S. service members killed in the terror bombing at Abbey Gate, Afghanistan 3 years ago. Former President Trump placed a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery. But the presidential team who signed off on the disastrous withdrawal, President Biden and Kamala Harris, did not attend. He's at the beach. She has nothing on her schedule, but they put out statements.
Today, both President Biden and Vice President Harris are offering renewed tributes to the 13 service members killed 3 years ago today. A review of the attack at Abbey Gate conducted this year by U.S. Central Command confirmed the bombing was conducted by a sole ISIS-K militant who was released by the Taliban just weeks earlier. Investigators say the attack was not preventable. Today, President Biden wrote, quote, "We must never forget that each beloved service member we lost was a human being who left behind entire families and communities, and together we must never stop striving to be worthy of their ultimate sacrifice."
Fox's Mark Meredith. The Kamala Harris debate with Donald Trump in doubt. The Trump campaign says the Democrats tried to change the rules after the Harris debate prep began. But Democrats have raised a lot of money to run Kamala Harris commercials. Fox's Jared Halpern on that.
In little more than a month, the campaign for Vice President Kamala Harris has raised more than $540 million. $82 million of that coming in during last week's Democratic convention in Chicago, the campaign announced. Campaign chair Jen O'Malley Dillon, in a memo, says a third of donations came from first-time contributors, and teachers and nurses are among the most common job titles for donors. Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, will campaign in Georgia later this week. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
America is listening to Fox News.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish and just kind of blah.
Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites.
But I suppose they taste blah.
Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go.
Toss one in my bag?
Get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The last week of August, and it is all about hardcore summer heat. Lots of sunshine going through our Monday afternoon. Hot with moderate humidity, 98. Tonight, clear, warm, 90s this evening, 78 for the low. Tuesday, sunny, hot, moderate humidity, 100 degrees. The record on Tuesday is 102. Wednesday and Thursday, partly sunny, hot with some spot thunderstorms, 98. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Window World, stlouis.com, that's the website. They are there to remind you of the smartest place to get your replacement windows. If you are in the market, if you've been thinking about it and you've been postponing it because you're trying to figure out how to do the whole project, whatever it might be, but you know that it has to be done, Window World is now offering up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. They're there to make the process an enjoyable process so you can quickly get those beautiful Window World replacement windows into your home, get the thermal efficiency back into your home, make that beautiful aesthetic upgrade to your home with these windows. They're ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. Tons of reviews online and great ratings with the agencies out there that rate businesses like Window World. If you're looking for a place that you can trust, make sure you give Window World the opportunity to earn your business. 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. When you call them, mention the Annie Fry Show, and you're going to be entered into a drawing for 4 St. Louis Blues tickets during the upcoming season. Make sure you let them know that you heard about it from Annie. 314-993-1800. Online at windowworldstlewis.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
When you ask people here, what's the one thing that makes Diamonds Direct their favorite jeweler? For some, it's the unbeatable pricing we get through our direct importer. No middleman connections. The foundation of our business since day one. For others, it's the uncompromising quality. From hand-selected diamonds to handcrafted designer rings. Only the best of the best. Some people put selection at the top of their list, as Diamonds Direct offers up to 30 times the options you expect from a typical jewelry retailer. For some, it's our luxurious showroom with diamond experts who genuinely care about your experience and happiness, and who are empowered to do whatever it takes for you. Others rave about Diamonds Direct's unmatched warranties and guarantees that include free service for life and an extraordinary 110% diamond upgrade promise. But you know the most often answer we get when asking what makes Diamonds Direct stand out? It's not one thing. It's everything. Diamonds Direct. Value, luxury, choices, and confidence. Get directions, hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is happening now. Tune in to the Annie Fry Show live stream. Vote and be a part of the conversation by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. Subscribe and leave a comment.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
August is a great Democratic month. We hell on wheels come August, okay? You remember what George Steinbrenner said about Dave Winfield? He called him Mr. May. The idea is to be good in November. And I tell Democrats some caution here. First of all, most quants say we have to win by 3 in the popular vote to win the Electoral College. So when you see a poll that says we 2 up, well, that's actually you're 1 down if the poll is correct.
Yeah, you'd lose.
The other thing is Trump traditionally, when he's on the ballot, chronically underpolls. All right? And so they came back late in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in 2020, and it showed Biden winning these states 7, 8 points.
Underpolls meaning Trump's going to do better than the polling shows?
I'm saying
because
traditionally, he underpolls. Traditionally.
Means he's going to do better in the election because people are too ashamed to tell a pollster they're going to vote for.
People are too ashamed to tell. I don't know that it's ashamed. I think it's maybe something other than that. Well, maybe some people are ashamed to say it, but they just shouldn't be. That's James Carville talking to Bill Maher on how these polls are shaping up and what that's going to mean for this election coming up. How much do you love polls? Probably, if you like them more than I do. I don't love polling in general because even when you listen to them talk about polls right here in this conversation, they're talking about how, like, what's the real language of polls? Well, then if that's the real language of polls, it's a huge difference. If they said it's a 3-point shift from where Donald Trump actually will be to how he polls, the majority of these polls, if Harris is up, is by 1 or 2 points, which is a dramatic difference come Election Day, should that 3-point swing be put into place. There's a lot of questions right now behind what Kamala Harris is actually going to do in her presidency. And the questions mount and we get no answers because she doesn't go talk to anybody to answer the questions that we might have.
They also want to change the rules. You know, the deal was we keep the same rules. Now all of a sudden they want to make a change in the rules because she can't answer questions. Why doesn't she do a couple of question answer? Why doesn't she do something like I'm doing right now? She can't talk. We can't have another dummy as a president, okay? We cannot have a dummy. And the people from Vietnam agree with that.
That's Donald Trump, pointing out the fact that there are questions that need to be answered, but Kamala Harris won't show up to answer them because she can't. He says we can't have another dummy as a president, and you can take that for whatever you want. That's the Donald Trump way of talking. The YouTube live chat poll for today is who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? There are people who hear that, who hear Donald Trump make a comment like that, and there he goes again. And, he's calling people names and he's saying these things. And, there's something about that really resonates with me when it comes to the criticisms that are out there from Donald Trump. Or towards Donald Trump, because when he calls Kamala Harris a dummy, there are people who maybe are on the fence. They're moderates, or they know that Kamala Harris would be a disaster for this country. They knew that Joe Biden would be as well. They maybe weren't going to vote for Joe Biden. They don't know what to do with Kamala Harris, but they feel like they can't vote for Donald Trump. When Donald Trump calls people dummies like that, those people will say, see, there he goes again. Why does he need to do that? I don't understand anybody whose feelings are so sensitive that when they hear Donald Trump call Kamala Harris a dummy, which is it a nasty way to go about your business? It's no less nasty than anything the Democrats have done to Donald Trump. In fact, it's like preschool stuff compared to the actual aggression and lawfare that they've thrown against Donald Trump. He's almost been assassinated. So when you look at everything that's being thrown at Donald Trump, people will criticize him and, they want him to straighten his tie and to be all ho about everything, where everything is so, above board. It's never been him. He's always been a straight shooter. He doesn't polish it for people like you and me to feel good about his words, because he says what he means and he means what he says. I feel like a lot of people, they bristle at that dummy comment because they know that when they're talking to somebody else, they're going to have to justify the dummy comment to another voter who might judge that other individual voter for supporting someone who'd call people dummies. And the truth is that they're only calling those names back because they feel like they keep you from talking at all when they put you on the spot like that. You want to say, you know what, gosh, I don't like that he says those things, but there's no way in heck that I can vote for myself by voting for Kamala Harris. It'd be a direct vote against my own best interests to vote for Kamala Harris. And you're telling me that I should vote for her because Donald Trump says words that you don't like? It's such a shallow and frankly stupid argument that we would be that worried about. If you think about celebrities and athletes and musicians, like, they say stupid stuff all the time. You still listen to their music, watch their games, and go see their movies.
Oh yeah, they do.
Because they're good at what they do.
Yes.
And if they say something you don't like, you go, wow, that was stupid. And then you just move on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not actually doing anything for you outside of probably 2 hours of entertainment tops.
Yeah. It's like having a doctor with bad bedside manner. You have a doctor that isn't nice to you when they talk to you. They don't sugarcoat it. They don't even sand the rough edges off. They look at you and say, hey, you're about 20 pounds overweight and you need to lose about 20 pounds. And you go, I don't like that. But the reason your doctor's telling you that is because he's identifying something that is wrong, and he's not saying it in a way that you like. But the other side of that is, too, you look at your doctor, and your doctor's kept you alive for however long. So would you rather have a doctor that talks nice to you and is bad at their job, or a doctor that is rough around the edges, doesn't really have a great bedside manner, but is phenomenal at their job?
And what the left will say to you is, but Brad, what's wrong with wanting to have a great doctor who talks nicely to you? And your response is, I don't see that person.
Yeah,
they're not here.
I agree. That's like, they're like, well, Donald Trump said this mean thing, and you're supposed to be a Christian. And you're like, well, Jesus isn't on the ballot, so I can't vote for him today.
Yeah.
We've got Kamala Harris, who is very much bad at her job. She's been bad at her job. We've got 3.5 years of evidence of that. And then you got Donald Trump, who was good at his job, but said mean things. So I'm going to go with the one that's good at his job.
You have to look at the choice that's in front of you. You have to look at the options that you have in reality, not some fabricated fantasy that some other person wants to set up for you to dabble in the conversation just so that you can have a guaranteed, no good choice for anybody. at the end. You have to look at, these are your options. And your options are Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Plain and simple. I actually did my Saturday morning podcast that I've been uploading lately. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, I encourage you, if you're a Christian person or if you're interested in my perspective as a Christian person, I'm using these Saturday morning podcast only episodes. They're usually like maybe 10 to 15 minutes long to reflect on what's going on during the week, but as a Christian. And last Saturday's was centered around the idea that how can you be a Christian and support fill in the blank, which is probably Donald Trump for a lot of you, but how can you be a Christian and support that person? And I answer that question, and I encourage you to check out the Annie Frey Show podcast, or you can go to anniefreyshow.com and scroll down, and there's a whole playlist you can find that audio there. We can't live in a state of fantasy when the threats coming from the likes of Kamala Harris are so big and so broad and not detailed that should she be elected, Lord knows what she would do should she get Congress in order to pass these things. The idea of taxing unrealized gains is unbelievable. The idea of taxing estates in a way that they haven't been taxed before, the idea that you would have somebody come in and police the appliances you can put in your home. You know, all of these things are being spoken about in a way that's supposed to talk about a greater good, but the greater good is always policed by somebody who is profiting off of their version of greater good that they, by virtue of being in a position in government, can force upon the people. That's as un-American as it gets. And it's pretty easy to identify. I wonder if Kamala Harris is, it's a good poll, maybe we'll do this one tomorrow, but if Kamala Harris's strategy to hide is one that could pay off, because Joe Biden did the same thing. And I think they're trying to, I mean, he definitely did more media hits that were like consistently disastrous, but nobody cared. He did media hits that Kamala Harris isn't doing. But he was able to do all of that under his own circumstances. He was able to control that narrative. He would speak off of a teleprompter when he was doing interviews with people to give canned responses. And I believe that Kamala Harris is trying to do her own version of that. It is absurd that we are a month into this campaign and Kamala Harris has not done an interview or a press conference. She wants to represent you in the highest office in our federal government, and she has refused to answer your questions. What even is that? How far do she think she can? I mean, there are two philosophies here that could be in play. The first is that they think it's a winning strategy, and they've won on it before. They think they can win on it again. I would go back to today's YouTube poll question on our YouTube channel. Who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? And I assume that if they think that the hiding Harris is a winning strategy, they just believe that Trump is that unlikable. That there are so many people out there that above all else, nothing else matters more than the voters' hatred for Donald Trump. Because if that's the only thing and the thing that matters most to everybody, then it, no pun intended, trumps any policy. It trumps anything that she would have to try to convince you or persuade or answer to or prove that she's up for the job in an interview, in a press conference, in some sort of public setting that isn't scripted. If everybody hates Donald Trump that much, then none of that stuff actually matters. So why would you go out there and risk tripping and falling on your face when you know that at the end of the day, everybody hates Donald Trump enough? Or you feel confident enough in the system that's in place on Election Day that it doesn't matter either. The other possibility of what could be in play here is that they know that Kamala Harris is incredibly unlikable to the extent that should they put her out there, it's a done deal. She's going to not be able to hang. She's going to not be able to do it. We're going to have a debate on September 10th, is it?
Yes.
And we're going to have a debate watch party. Once again, free tickets, if they're still available. I haven't checked yet. Last time we sold out almost immediately. So go to 971talk.com/events and scroll down and see that debate watch party and reserve your seats before they're gone. If they are still available, hopefully they are, and you can get your spot reserved. But you kind of have to ask yourself, like, okay, what's our ceiling and what's our floor. And if your ceiling is where you are right now, end of the DNC convention, you got through the whole thing without having to articulate policy. Lots of famous people came and talked up Kamala Harris. Ratings were good. It ended and nothing terrible happened. No riots that ended up causing a major distraction for the DNC. Kamala Harris is sitting decent. She's competing right now. If you know for a fact that her unlikability every time she comes out is going to take her down a notch and take her down a notch and take her down a notch, if you know you're at your ceiling, you're not going to participate in trying to break through the glass ceiling. You're just going to say, we got to live here as long as we possibly can and hope that the downward trajectory happens so close to the election that it doesn't matter for early voters and for, the end result being what it might be. I kind of think that that's probably more likely here. Joe Biden was a guaranteed loss. Kamala Harris is a likely loss. And they're just trying to wait out the clock as long as they can with the unlikely possibility that maybe Kamala Harris can sneak in there with a win. That's kind of what it feels like to me, because I don't think she's got anything to offer. And I feel pretty confident in saying that because I watched a week of DNC. And she had nothing to offer but a reminder to you that you hate Donald Trump. And unfortunately for her, I don't hate Donald Trump, so it didn't work on me. There was no positive policy that was suggested to me that made me feel like, oh, man, they really got something here. People are going to like that. Oh, except for the policies that they ripped and read from Donald Trump. Those were good. All right, let's take a quick break. Joe Concha joins us when we come back to talk to us about the impact of the RFK Jr. suspension of his campaign, endorsement of Donald Trump, and where does that leave Kamala Harris? Joe Concha with us on the Annie Fry Show when we come back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Attention, Missouri residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive free in-home care from a loved one, funded by Medicaid with no cost to you. Freedom Care, Missouri's #1 home care provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift. Freedom Care has over 5,000 five-star Google reviews and is #1 in Missouri for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's 100% free to you, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-3027. That's 314-557-3027. 314-557-3027.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
When you face storms, if you have Rhino Shield, you don't much have to worry about the side of your house. #1, it's waterproof. So whatever rain hits it is going to just bounce off. You don't have to worry about that. When we had that hail recently, the homes with vinyl siding got crushed. I mean, holes punched in the side of it. And the ones with Rhino Shield, it pretty much just bounced off. And my friend Darren has the pictures to prove that. So you've got a product that's 8 to 10 times thicker than regular paint. It hardens like a ceramic shield. It protects whatever's on the outside of your home. And you get a 25-year warranty. 25 years. You don't have to worry about going outside in the heat and scraping and painting or paying somebody else to do it every 4 or 5 years. You're fixed. You're covered. You get that warranty. You can transfer it to the next owner as well. Call Darren today. Let him give you a free evaluation on this beautiful product on your home. 877-25-RHINO or online at 877-25rhino.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Monday afternoon, how much will the RFK Jr. endorsement for Trump really mean in the fall election? We'll talk about it. It all starts at 3.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
We're going to disagree on issues, right? There are things that Robert Kennedy has said that I disagree with. I'm sure there are things that he said, or that I've said, excuse me, that he's going to disagree with. But I think what his endorsement represents is that Donald J. Trump's Republican Party is a big tent party. I was raised by 2 grandparents who are sort of classic blue dog Democrats. They believed in having a border. They believed that, you shouldn't have censorship in the United States of America. They believed in common sense economic policies. They may have disagreed with Donald Trump about tax policy, but they believed in some fundamental American values. And I think what RFK's endorsement really shows is that the Kennedy Democrats are actually more at home in the Republican Party of Donald Trump. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris's party, higher prices, doing nothing to fight back against the Chinese, to say nothing of a wide open border, that is not JFK's Democratic Party. It's not RFK's Democratic Party. We're thrilled to have the Kennedy Democrats where they belong.
Oh, what you know, Joe. Joe Concha, Fox News contributor.
Well, Joe Concha joins us once again, and he's a Fox News contributor, of course, but he also wrote the book on Progressively Worse, Why Today's Democrats Ain't Your Daddy's Donkeys. Joe, today's Democrats are endorsing Donald Trump. Tell us more. This is pretty wild.
Oh, no, it's crazy, Annie. In my book, Progressively Worse, I dedicate an entire chapter to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.,
Really?
not knowing that this was going to happen.
You're prescient.
Maybe I gave him this whole idea that maybe you're in the wrong party. But that's the thing. Like, he makes all these points that now Democrats used to be, peace, love, dope, and now they're the party of war, right? And they're the party of elites.
Yeah.
I have a stat in the book that I share. The top 40 richest congressional districts in the country are represented by, ding, 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 Democrats. So they're more about the coastal elites and the working man and woman. And obviously they're the party of censorship as well, which I think is a very big deal to not just us, but to RFK Jr. as well. He's talked about it many times. And the Democratic Party, the way they treated him is so reminiscent of the way they treated Tulsi Gabbard in 2020 when she ran for president. And in the book as well, I talk about how CNN during that particular race gave every Democratic nominee a 1-hour town hall. National airtime, and when you have 24 candidates, you take that hour. Oh, that's right. They offered everybody but one person that town hall, and that was Tulsi Gabbard, and Tulsi ended up winning more delegates than Kamala Harris. So go figure on that one. But she left that party for those reasons as well. And obviously Joe Manchin, a guy who actually you can consider to be a moderate. You're from West Virginia, you better be. And now RFK, and I think it's such a big deal, Annie, as far as it being a true game changer. Like, it could make all the difference in states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, because when you think about Jill Stein in 2016, Green Party maybe was getting 1%, and Hillary Clinton and others will tell you that she took away enough votes from Hillary to make the difference in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. So if RFK Jr. is polling 4, 5, 6 times higher than Jill Stein, well, what does that mean as far as these states that could come down to, as they did in 2020, 10,000 votes, 12,000 votes, 20,000 votes? It could be enough that Trump wins this race, ironically, because of a disgruntled Democrat who doesn't recognize his own party anymore.
I'm glad you mentioned Tulsi Gabbard. We're speaking with Joe Concha right now because the news just came out. Fox News sent out an alert that former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard has endorsed Trump in this 2024 race as well. This comes on the heel, of course, of RFK Jr., who did so last Friday. You've written a book on this, and people need to check out Progressively Worse. I think it's easier to identify where we are right now to say, this isn't the way the Democrats used to be, but it's harder to identify when you're in the midst of that shift and that transition. What did you notice about the times a changing for the Democrat Party and where they were going? Like, how did that shift begin to take place?
Oh, okay. Well, you look at the Clinton presidency the most, I think, Bill Clinton, and we may have talked about this already. I'm happy to admit it. I voted for Bill Clinton in 1996 because I didn't care what letter was next to his name. I do know that we had peace, right? We had prosperity. Now, the peace part, was basically gifted to him by Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush when the Soviet Union fell. But still, no new wars, nothing like that. Good prosperity. Economy was going quite well in 1996. And then I saw a Clinton that actually worked with Newt Gingrich as far as ending welfare, as far as at least the welfare state and passing welfare reform. We had a balanced budget amendment. Ooh, don't spend what you don't have. What the F is that, right? Yeah, but we did it. And then obviously Bill Clinton goes on the State of the Union, talks about how he will deport as many people as possible because it's taking away good jobs from Americans who are here legally, and declares that the era of big government is over. I mean, imagine a Democratic president saying something like that, right? When you hear Kamala Harris talking about, hey, we need the government to get involved in, this whole price gouging, and we're going to fix prices to make sure that these greedy supermarkets who are operating at a 1% profit margin don't put prices too high when it's actually inflation that's doing that and has nothing to do with the supermarkets themselves. The point is that you look at the Clinton presidency and then you look at what we have today as far as open borders, as far as spending completely out of control, as far as not just not working with the other side, but everybody seemingly running to Twitter, like the AOCs and the Adam Schiffs and the Eric Swalwell's of the world, to own the cons and just as snarky and as personal and hateful as possible. It wasn't that way even with Reagan and Tip O'Neill, right? They would have their disagreements, but after work, they'd actually get together for a drink and be like, all right, how can we hammer this out for the good of the country? I don't think Democrats operate in the good of the country anymore. They operate for their own power, for their own preservation, and we're clearly seeing that now with this election where they got rid of their own sitting president not because of his health, by the way, and not because of saving democracy, because they knew he couldn't win, so they wanted a do-over, so they got the old man out, and now Kamala Harris's sugar high is coming to an end, clearly. And I think that Donald Trump now with this RFK endorsement, we've already forgotten about the Democratic National Convention. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. We're speaking with Joe Concha right now, Fox News contributor, author as well.
Annie.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't answer your question. You said, when did the shift happen?
Well, yeah. What do you think it was?
After Clinton, social media coming about, I think the cable news networks for CNN used to be quite reasonable. They used to be quite moderate. MSNBC used to have hosts ranging from Tucker Carlson to Savage to Jesse Ventura, right? Reasonable guys like Dan Abrams and so on. Yeah, and then they just said, screw it. We're going to let Keith Olbermann run this network, and we're going to go totally to the left. You won't be able to tell one show from another. CNN follows suit for whatever reason because, gee, that's profitable, I guess. No, it's not. So I think those networks going in that direction, and so many journalists coming out of J schools now as advocates, as activists, and not actually holding both sides accountable. So I think the media has pushed this party in this direction, and then social media was the coup d'etat, where then everybody just decided not to be civil anymore. And like I described before, it's all about likes and retweets and getting invited onto Stephen Colbert than it is about actually doing what's best for the country.
You mentioned Joe Biden, how they booted him, and it really absolutely was simply because he couldn't win again. If he could have won again, as senile as he might have continued to grow, they would have absolutely kept him in there if they thought that they could continue this dance. Where is he right now? Where has he been? Today is the third anniversary of Abbey Gate. 13 Americans lost in that Afghanistan withdrawal debacle. He's nowhere to be found.
It infuriates me. And you know me, I'm kind of a happy warrior, happy guy. I'm still playing, in a league where there's a keg at every base in my softball league. So, I'm that guy, right? But boy, am I pissed off.
Yes.
Because the fact that our corrupt media, all right, the stupid people that work in this business, or at least corrupt, I won't even say stupid, they actually know quite what they're doing, that you just allow this guy, he does the speech on Monday night, we love you, Joe, oh, you should be on Mount Rushmore, and then Tuesday he's gone, leaves his own party's convention, goes to California, stays in the home of a billionaire donor worth $37 million, right, because he's Scranton Joe, right, regular guy.
Yep.
And then after he's done with a 5-day vacation, he doesn't even go to the White House to work for one day. He's going to Delaware now for another 9. Who's running the country? I mean, it's ridiculous. And Kamala Harris, what happened to her, by the way? What happened to all this momentum out of the Democratic National Convention? She's disappeared, too. So I don't know who's running the – you say, well, maybe it's in the capable hands of somebody like Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, the guy who got surgery for colon cancer and then was out for 2 weeks and no one knew where he was and he didn't bother to tell anybody. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know who's running the country, but we are in big trouble because you don't think Iran or Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Russia, China, you don't think they see that everybody's asleep at the switch and no one seems to care in our media for calling this out saying, come on, this is ridiculous. So I hope that Americans are paying attention to this point. They better be, that's for sure.
Yeah, amen to that. Joe Concha speaking with us right now. With the RFK Jr. Dropout or suspension of his campaign, he's going to stay on the ballot in some places. He's pulling his name off, and he said about 10 states where he could potentially throw the race towards Harris. Do you have any predictions that you're willing to make as to what happens in November? The winds definitely seem to have shifted after that Friday announcement.
Yeah, 2 Friday announcements, right? One, the RFK Jr. endorsement, and then the Friday before that, I talked about Kamala Harris unveils economic plan. Doesn't take any questions, of course, but when she went down that road, she has the worst instincts. It's quite remarkable to watch. All you had to do was act like you're centrist, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe say, we're going to cut taxes for the middle class, or just things that, it's like being against cancer, right? Like easy things that test well from a polling perspective. And she goes to the left like that with that whole price fixing thing. $25,000 per person if you want to buy a new home. Were you alive in 2008 when you saw what happened when we did something like that? So it was just so stupid. And even when CNN, Washington Post, New York Times called her out, these aren't very popular proposals and they're not good ideas. They didn't mention it once again at that Democratic National Convention, did they? So I think that was a big hole as far as her armor is concerned, and then RFK as well. You asked me to make a prediction, Annie. I mean, put it this way, in January 2020, when I was asked this question, I said Trump wins in a landslide for the same reasons I listed why I voted for Clinton. We had peace and we had prosperity, and when you're an incumbent, you win big. And then COVID hit, and everything got completely turned on its head. So if things hold, I'll put that disclaimer. If things are as they are today, right, then I will say that Trump wins Pennsylvania, he wins Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, and Wisconsin. He could still lose, and he still wins the election. Mm-hmm. And he could still pull a surprise in a state like Virginia. I'm not sold that those states are now completely out of touch because Kamala Harris is the nominee and not Joe Biden. But I think in the end, Andy, to be honest with you, that September 10th debate on ABC is the whole ballgame, quite frankly. If she shows up and suddenly we get the word salads again and she can't defend any of these positions because they're all indefensible, right? Wait, yes. You said you were 100% for fracking. Now you're against it? And by the way, why haven't you said that? Why are campaign surrogates saying something like that? Why do sanctuary cities work? Why do you think we should abolish ICE? Why do you think a man can get pregnant? I could go on, but we know when you take her out of a teleprompter, she's the Ron Burgundy of candidates. You put her in a teleprompter, she will read, and she reads it well. But just like Joe Biden, she is not good on her feet, can't speak extemporaneously. And I think if Trump has the discipline like he had against Biden, and if these ABC debate moderators aren't complete hacks, and ask some decent questions. I know it's going to be biased, but as long as you get enough in there that are relevant as far as inflation, crime, the border, foreign policy, I think that she's going to be exposed in a big way, and I think that she won't be able to turn it around from that point. And maybe even in October we'll be hearing about, that Josh Shapiro looks like a really good candidate.
I know, it's totally. I don't know how it works, but I figure if there's a way to make it happen, they could potentially do that. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash at CNN surprised everybody and ran say a very complimentary nice things to them about that debate. They did a good job. It was fair. It was balanced. Didn't feel like they were going for one candidate or the other. Although by being fair, it almost felt like they were going for Trump. And Donald Trump stayed within himself. And so to me, it's like a reminder that both of those things are possible once again in this next debate. And it will be absolutely consequential for the future of America's history. I mean, it's a big, bold statement, but I think it's a true one. Joe, thank you. We always love having your fire and energy on the show and look forward to having you back again soon.
Always something to talk about, Annie.
That's for
sure. Song. I appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye. He's the author of Progressively Worse, Why Today's Democrats Ain't Your Daddy's Donkeys. His first book was about Joe Biden and the terrible, no good, awful, terrible, whatever presidency. And I think Joe Concha might have been responsible for ending the Joe Biden presidency. And now he wrote the book about the Democrat Party and where they were and where they are right now, as we are in the moment getting news alerts of more Democrats people who are former Democrats who left the Democratic Party, became independents, endorsing Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard officially throwing her endorsement behind Donald Trump on the heels of Friday's endorsement from RFK Jr. Who's next? I have a feeling there are going to be more, and I'm looking forward to all of it. Joe Concha, love having him on the show. Fox News contributor as well. If you are on X, go tweet at him at Joe Concha TV and tell him thanks for coming on the show. It's always great to give that feedback to our guests, and they love to hear it. All right, let's take a quick break. Ryan Wiggins back in studio here in just a minute, and we will discuss the poll for today. Who is more unlikable, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Annie Fry YouTube channel, come vote. Tell us what you think. We'll be right back.
What you know, Joe? Well, I don't know Latin. What you know, Joe?
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I need schooling. I don't know.
STS Armory. You find them in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. Go in the store, get to know these people because they have big things coming in the future here, short future, near future of STS Armory. But Katie and Jesse are there ready to talk to you. If you go to sts-armory.com, you can learn about the different products that they carry. I have purchased firearms from them, ammunition. I have purchased some safes that I have in my home to make sure that our house is a responsible 2A home. It certainly is. And in addition to all of this, maybe the most important thing you can do when you connect with Katie and Jesse at STS Armory is talk to them about the classes that they offer. Your conceal and carry class, you can get that done there. Your renewal class, you can get that done there. But also basic firearms safety and training courses, even safety and firearms responsibility courses for kiddos, so you can make sure that they understand how to own and operate safely, or to not touch, the whole deal. To be able to have a gun in your home, you need to be a responsible owner, and first and foremost, that is what STS Armory backs up all of their business with. You can call them at 618-931-GUNS, 618-931-GUNS. You can visit them at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. You can find them online at sts-armory.com.
I always said for years to save my number in your phone so you don't forget. And here's why. Today, I was calling the office. So I mentioned the office number. Probably have said it, not to exaggerate, over 1,000 times. I called the office today and I dialed the wrong number. When it connected, it said number you call not in order, not in use, whatever they say that. Now I am freaking out. I'm a very small business owner, and that's my lifeline. Very long story to try to make it shorter. And if Andrew can do this, I'm producing it. That's why I say save the number in your phone. Save it under BART. That's with a B. You can save it under air conditioning. That's with an A. Or whatever helps you remember, because if your memory is like mine, it's easy to forget. 314-293-2600. That's BART with a B.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Take a step back and think about this one. Who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? We want to know not just who you choose, but why you would choose Trump or Harris in today's YouTube live chat poll. Let us know. We'll give you the results at the end of the show. 144, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tucker Carlson is paying Missouri a visit, and we're inviting you to join us to see him for free on September 12th at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Tickets are on sale now, but you can register for a chance to win online at 971talk.com now until August 30th. This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Saturday night, I feel the air is getting hot. Like me, baby. I'll make you mine, you know I'll take you to the top. I'll drive you crazy. Saturday night, dance, I like the way you move. Pretty baby. It's party time and not 1 minute we can lose. Be my baby.
How are you specifically preparing for the debate versus Harrison?
I'm not, really. I'm not spending a lot of time on it. I think my whole life I've been preparing for a debate. You know, you can go in and you can have all sorts of sessions. I watched Mitt Romney go in and he worked so hard. 4 weeks he locked himself into a log cabin, and then he developed lockjaw. He couldn't speak. I watched other people. I mean, you have to be real. You know, you can't cram knowledge into your head for, 30 years of knowledge in 1 week. So, there's a little debate prep, but I've always done it more or less the same way. And you have to know your subject. And I think I know my subject. I think I know it better than anybody.
That is so true. It sounds arrogant. How are you preparing for the debate? I'm not. His answer is, I am prepared for the debate. And when you know something, you don't have to memorize it. When you understand conceptually the things that are going on, you don't have to take 2 weeks at Camp David to try to cram everything in so that you can remember what some other consultant told you that you need to say if this comes up. And then, and make sure you give this counterpunch and drop this insult. And you need to make sure you say the word weird 72 times. You don't need to do all of that. And Donald Trump isn't managed. He just isn't. And yes, that means that he calls people dummy from time to time, and he says some things that are, my favorite word that has come out of all of this is inartful, which I will use on my own when I say something that is wrong or comes out bad. I will say it was inartful, because that in and of itself sounds artful.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't misspeak. It was just inartful.
Oh.
I could have said it better.
Well, that sounds very, it's very.
Arty?
Yeah.
It's an artful way of saying that.
Yes.
It's eloquent.
I think. So when he says that he's not going to prepare for the debate because he is prepared for the debate, perfect answer.
Yeah, it is. And it's true, too. Because he gives answers just like that, you know that he's telling you the truth. And you know that when he goes into those debates, he is speaking off the cuff. Like he said, I may sit down and they might tell me, hey, what if she says this? You're going to be ready for that or whatever. He didn't even say all that, but I could see that being his debate prep, that they might hit you with this. What are you going to do if they do that? But he's pretty much ready for all that stuff because he constantly gets it from journalists. So I don't know what else kind of prep you could be doing other than what he is doing.
When I first got the opportunity to do this show, so the way I started in being like on air, I graduated with a communications degree from SIU Edwardsville, TV radio degree, did sports talk radio for 3 years, and then moved over to news talk and worked as the digital brand manager here at 97.1 since February of 2009, and was in the background and very supportive of what 97 has been and continues to be. It's been such an honor and a joy to be a part of this for so long, especially in radio. It's not really, you don't usually stay in one media outlet for that long. It just is the nature of the business. I pray that I get to be here for another 16 years. I got the opportunity to sit in with Mark Cox when he had a Sunday show, and I would sit in there and we would have conversation, but I was very deferential. I would wait, don't speak unless you're spoken to. And that kind of grew a little bit, and I got my sea legs a little bit. it's intimidating to go sit in front of a microphone and just like say a really strong political opinion. It's like not something,
especially at the beginning.
Well, exactly,
Yeah.
completely. And I had a lot of opinions. I could, as you probably can listening to this show, sit in your car and argue the points and think of the points. I bet you regularly you come up with things in your mind that I haven't said, and then I say them and you're like, I was thinking that. Or maybe you said something to other people and I say it, and so we're on the same wavelength there. But when you have to go do it on a microphone, it's very intimidating. So I did that for 2 years. I sat in with Mark Cox, and he was just the most wonderful, kind person to let me do that, because I think that most people would not be like, yeah, let her come in and sit on my show. Like, he's just a wonderful person, and I've always been grateful that he was okay with that. When he moved to middays, when Dana Lash moved off the station, he moved into Dana's spot. I got the Saturday show, or I got the 2-hour slot that he vacated from Sunday. Turned out we shifted things around, and my 2 hours was on Saturdays from 5 to 7. In the midst of getting that show, there were a couple times where Mark would go on vacation, or maybe he was at a wedding, or there was something that he was gone for on the weekend. And the first time that I got asked to fill in for Mark's show is the most nervous I've ever been in my life. Infinitely more nervous to do 2 hours on Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. on 97.1 than I was to fly in a Super Hornet.
I can see that.
Way more nervous. And when it came time to, when I got asked to fill in, I've told this story before, but I had 3 separate subjects, 3 separate news articles or concepts or whatever per segment of a 2-hour show. It was 6 segments. I had 3 separate things planned. I wrote out, I made myself write out 3 points for each of those different subjects so that I would be fully prepared to go on the microphone and fill that time. And I was terrified that I would run out of words to say. I was so nervous. It was maybe an hour or 2 before the show was supposed to start. And I was thinking, I got to get out of this. I can't do this. I'm going to make a fool of myself. I got to cancel it. I did it. I have no idea what that show sounded like. I blacked out during the thing, whatever. Made it through. Here I am. So it didn't go catastrophically, is it a word, wrong. When I got moved on to this show and I started doing weekdays for 3 hours, I would go home. I think, Brad, you might have made a comment about experiencing something similar when you started here. But I would go home after doing the show for 3 hours and sit in the chair, and I would take a comatose level nap for 45 minutes. I would just sit in the chair. There'd be kids crawling on me when I got home, and my brain was like, enough. You're done. Sit still for a minute, because it was so mentally exhausting. We have to be laser focused for 3 hours straight with 3-minute incremental breaks sometimes. It is really, really challenging. Now, today, I can come in here and do 3 hours of radio. I had a meeting this morning, talking to coworkers out there. I can walk in and do this show, and because I'm in it, I am saturated in it. I get news alerts throughout the day. I'm always working, but I'm never, other than the time that I'm here on the show, I'm never sitting down at my desk and filing papers and stuff. Once you start to do it and you start to know it, I don't have to sit down anymore and write out 3 topics for the 1:40 p.m. block after Joe Concha speaks. Make sure I have these 3 things and I know the things that I'm going to say and, the jokes I'm going to try to make land. And I don't have to do any of that. In fact, when Ryan and I are going back and forth, he's going to say something really stupid here in a second. Just wait. He's thinking. He's ruminating. Look at him. Look at him. He's waiting for me to give him the path to go down. He doesn't know yet. Here, say something funny. He's shaking his head no. He's doing what I do to him, which is silence. When Ryan and I are going back and forth and having these conversations that usually go off track, we don't really talk to each other like during the morning, we might see each other for 45 seconds before the show starts. Ryan doesn't know what topics I'm going to talk about when. Brad puts together a list of cuts that I can play during the show. We just collectively come in here having been steeped in the news, and we have an honest, real conversation. I mean, what percentage of this show, Ryan, before you come in here, what percentage on a daily basis do you know what is when?
Well, I don't know anything.
There's one segment you know.
I know Wiggins America, but that's it. And you're right. We all have to be kind of studying everything so that we can come in. Because if you do try to say ahead of time, let's talk about this or let's do this and I'll do this and then you do that, it's just stale. You can't do it. It doesn't work.
We actually will even potentially kind of avoid each other because if something happens, we don't want to have the good conversation off the air.
Yeah, once in a while, if we're here early for a meeting and I see you and we're, a lot of times we will sit together in meetings because we know each other and we'll start, oh, did you see blah, blah, blah happen? We're like, no, shut up.
Yeah, save it for the air.
Yeah, save it.
Well, and it's like in Friends, isn't it Friends is the one where they wasted the good, no, or is that Big Daddy?
It's Big Daddy.
It's Big Daddy. We wasted the good surprise on you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to waste the good conversation in private. We want to have our honest reactions and thoughts ahead of time. But you can't do that if you don't know the content, if you don't know the issues, if you don't have an honest, genuine, individual thought or opinion or perspective on the issue that is just yours. Like the reason why I don't need to tell Ryan ahead of time, oh, we're going to talk, like if I'm like, so unrealized gains, I think Ryan's going to have a thought, an opinion on that.
You don't know exactly what it is, but
no, and I don't want to know because we can handle that in public. I don't think that Joe Biden could handle that in public. He needs to have information input in order to have output. And Kamala Harris seems more of a puppet than the rest of them, that she needs to make sure that she knows all the input in order to formulate an output. And it's like system malfunction when she tries.
And she has definitely not been tested by journalists, which is why you get this. You get somebody who will not speak to you directly unless it is written ahead of time.
I mean, even when she was tested. Have you been to the border? We've been to the border. No, you haven't. Well, we haven't been to Europe either.
Yes. What? But it's like talking to my kids when I'm trying to get them to do their chores. I didn't clean the basement either. You're not mad at me about that? Well, I am now. Thanks for bringing it up. Who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? Tell us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Let us know what you think. We'll be right back.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care. And that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Air Comfort Service online at aircomfortservice.com. The duct sealing service that they offer, it's an AeroSeal duct sealing, and they have done this in my home, and it made a dramatic difference in how frequently we have to run our heating and cooling system because the air is traveling through the ductwork and getting to where it needs to be, escaping in the vents in the rooms where it's supposed to be and not leaking out of unsealed ductwork throughout our house and not heating and cooling the rooms and the floors as they are supposed to. If you have this problem, an unleveling of heating and cooling, maybe in the basement, all the way up to the second floor, wherever. I don't know how many floors you have. If you're like Ryan Wiggins, you have 6 floors in your house. It gets really out of whack. You can call AeroSeal or you can call Air Comfort Service and have that conversation with them about how they can solve this problem for you. 314-513-0091. You can find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's getjim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Remembering our American heroes 3 years later. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. Congress planning to honor those killed during the U.S. military withdrawal from Afghanistan. Here's Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
On the third-year anniversary of the tragic Kabul airport bombing, House Speaker Mike Johnson on Fox and Friends says the Congressional Gold Medal will be presented to the 13 service members killed.
We have to make sure that the American people know that sacrifice. It was the greatest foreign policy blunder of our lifetimes.
Speaker Johnson says the medals will be presented during a ceremony on September 10th. That's around the time the House Foreign Affairs Committee plans to release the findings of its investigation into the chaotic exit. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Israel and Hezbollah trading rocket fire over the Lebanese border. Here's Fox's Jeff Paul in Tel Aviv.
This intense exchange of fire between Hezbollah and Israeli forces so far appears to remain just that and has not widened out to a big regional conflict. But tensions remain elevated as the region sort of waits and watches to see what could happen next, as well as whether or not a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is in the near future. Now, this latest and massive escalation between Israel and Hezbollah really started early Sunday morning using 100 fighter jets. Israel launched airstrikes in Lebanon targeting Hezbollah rocket launching positions. They say it was a preemptive strike after intelligence showed an attack from Hezbollah was imminent.
And negotiators meeting in Cairo trying to come to a ceasefire deal to end the fighting in Gaza and lead to the release of hostages. Russia pounding Ukraine with missiles and drones that killed 4 people, injured more than a dozen, damaged some energy facilities, and attacks that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described as vile. This barrage of over 100 missiles and similar number of drones began around midnight, continued through daybreak in what appeared to be Russia's biggest onslaught on Ukraine in weeks. Ukraine's Air Force said swarms of drones fired at all sections of the country. America's listening to Fox News.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish and just kind of blah. Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites. But I suppose they taste blah. Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go. Toss one in my bag? Get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The last week of August, and it is all about hardcore summer heat. Lots of sunshine going through our Monday afternoon. Hot with moderate humidity, 98. Tonight, clear, warm, 90s this evening, 78 for the low. Tuesday, sunny, hot, moderate humidity, 100 degrees. The record on Tuesday is 102. Wednesday and Thursday, partly sunny, hot with some spot thunderstorms, 98. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is online at igotfloor.com, igotfloor.com. If you go to that website, you can directly request an estimate straight from the website so you can start the conversation surrounding your renovation project. Whatever kind of flooring you're looking for, they carry it. If you are looking for carpet, they have that Mohawk Smart Strand that so many people seek out. If you're looking for hardwood, laminate, tile, luxury vinyl plank, natural stone, glass tile, they got it all. And they have the experts that go along to help you make the decision that's going to be best for your space. They do residential flooring, of course. If you were looking for flooring to put into your newly renovated basement or finished basement, if you were looking to replace the carpet in your bedroom with new carpet, fresh carpet, or maybe something that's more of a hardwood style, they can help you with that. But they also can help you with a commercial project that you have in front of you. If you are in the market for flooring, please consider contacting Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've got 3 locations across St. Louis, but they're online right now at igotfloor.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single-barrel bourbon to try. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly, B21.
Join us for Midwest WINGFEST in Fairview Heights this weekend. Wings, drinks, and music, all to benefit combat wounded soldiers. A huge variety of food and music. It's all in Fairview Heights. Info at MidwestWingFest.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We appreciate you being with us this afternoon. Let's talk about the YouTube live chat poll for today. You can go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote and tell us who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris. I find it interesting, as much as I don't love to play Kamala Harris's voice in the show, I just don't prefer it in general. And, I'll say Donald Trump's voice isn't like music to my ears either. Neither one of them are, Barack Obama has a way of delivering you and capturing you and bringing you in. There was a time where Bill Clinton certainly did as well. Ronald Reagan had that smooth voice also. I'm not really feeling that with either of these candidates, but Kamala Harris, I don't even have clips from Kamala Harris. She's not out talking. She's not out saying anything. Peter Doocy got her to say, asked her, said something about congratulations about a great DNC as she was passing through the hallways in D.C., I think it was. And Peter Doocy said, when are you going to do your Fox interview? And she looks over her shoulder as she continues to walk and she says, I'm working up to it.
Yeah, sometime in December.
I thought it was a stupid way to respond. I mean, I'm working up to it. How long does it take?
Yeah, and compare yourself to the guy across the aisle from you and see how long it takes him to work up to doing any interview or talking about anything.
The conversation right now about the September 10th debate, which if you go to 971talk.com/events, you can reserve your free tickets to our Dave and Buster September 10th debate watch party. We would love to have you there. They sold out pretty quickly last time, and we had, they're free. I sold out. They were all reserved pretty quickly, and we had a lot of people trying to get in, and we did not have room for folks. So I'm not 100%. I haven't asked today how close it is to selling out, but please, we'd love to have you come out there, fill that room with Annie Fry Show listeners, but get your spot reserved. 971talk.com/events. Doesn't cost you a thing. They're talking about now Kamala Harris her camp wants the microphones to be on the entire time. It's okay, it was your rule last time to have them off. Is it possible that they wanted that last time to protect Joe Biden and not to keep Donald Trump at bay? I mean, everybody kind of assumed that they were trying to keep Donald Trump from being the rude, interrupting arse that he could traditionally be. And And I was always thinking, like, I don't think this hurts Trump.
No.
If this keeps Trump at bay, that makes me happy. Is there some sort of way that muting these microphones kept Joe Biden more protected? Because now Kamala Harris is like, they should be hot. The microphone should be hot.
No, I think they were comparing the Trump-Biden debate from 2020 to what they thought this one would be and thinking, that was just a steamroll and nothing came of it. And I think they said, let's try to make it an actual debate and let's stop Trump from being Trump, because anything Trump does is bad. So let's just stop him from doing that, not realizing that they played right into his strengths, which is like removing his weaknesses, which was steamrolling, actually helped him.
What if that was the plan? What if they set
it's
up
all
Joe
possible.
Biden?
It's all possible.
Maybe if it wasn't to protect Joe Biden, maybe it was to make him more vulnerable. It's like maybe if we mute Trump, then he won't be as unlikable, and Joe Biden will just go out there and see his way out of this race on his own.
I tweeted the video this weekend we did a short from it, and I was saying, I kept going, I don't know nothing, and I'm not a predictive person. I'm not the person who's going to come on the show and every day about every issue tell you what's going to happen next, because I have no idea. But I will have hunches and likely be wrong. But the question was, are they setting Joe Biden up? And maybe they were setting Joe Biden up. Maybe they got exactly what they wanted out of that. And now that the game has changed, they want to make sure that snarky comment that could be perceived as sexist against Kamala Harris that might not get picked up if the microphones are muted comes out so that it hurts Donald Trump in the end. If Donald Trump, maybe Donald Trump seeming to be reserved and restricted because his microphone was off, maybe, I said this with Joe Concha at 125. I felt like his performance is one of the main catalysts for what happened to Joe Biden, because Donald Trump didn't get in the way of the Joe Biden headline that was so obvious coming out of that debate. But generally speaking, Donald Trump does even just the littlest of things that the mainstream media will seize upon and then use it to bury the Joe Biden negative story. That didn't happen that time. Was it because the microphones were off? Maybe, but I don't, you could watch him the whole time he was up there. He seemed very much so deferential to Joe Biden and kind of let Joe Biden be the story. Can he do that again?
He can, and I think he will do that again, because he is the one now advocating for the muting of the mics. So he realizes that helped him focus on...
He says that he would prefer him to be on.
Oh, I saw this morning that he was saying that Kamala came out and changed the rules. Now Kamala wants him on. Kamala wants to change everything.
He did say that, and he said, honestly, I'd rather have him on also.
So interesting, because I took what he was saying as that he was agreeing that the muting of the mics was not bad for him. So going into this, it's interesting because the media can play this two ways. They could say, well, Trump is trying to get out of the debate, which is what they're doing. Or they could go the opposite way and say Kamala is trying to change the rules that they had agreed to, which is also true. Guess which one is the only thing you're reading, though? You're only reading that Trump is trying to get out of this debate, which I don't even really think he is. He's just trying to establish the rules.
The debate is the best arrow in his quiver. Here's
Absolutely.
Donald Trump speaking about the debate rules and their possible changes.
Do you want the microphones muted in the debate whenever you're not speaking?
We agreed to the same rules. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on, but the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine. I mean, ask Biden how it worked out. It was fine. And I think it should be the same. We agreed to the same rules. Same rules and same specifications. And I think that's probably what it should be. But they're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
So, I mean, there you have them saying, essentially, why is it they want to keep changing the rules? They said they wanted to be this way. It was really important for them to be this way. And I said, okay, fine, we'll do it your way. And now I said that. And now they're saying, well, we want to do it another way. And he's like, okay, whatever. But why are we, what I think is funny is Donald Trump has very, very smartly said, whatever you want. People, who are out there pushing this narrative that, I mean, I try really hard not to let these people get under my skin because I know that they're trying to and they enjoy it when they successfully do. When people say that Kamala Harris is looking forward to Donald Trump if he's not chicken enough to back out or whatever, I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, he will Kool-Aid man his way onto that stage to have a conversation with Kamala Harris. He wants nothing more than that. To the point where, excuse me, conservatives are a little nervous about him being too aggressive. It's like, ease your roll. Slow your roll.
He's really ready to go.
Yeah, like we need a happy medium here. But when you listen to those leftist pundits say, like, you know, if Donald Trump's not too chicken to show up, I'm like, you're just making crap up so that you can have that. You're just trying to start that little bitty snowball down the hill to see if you can make something of it. And I'm like, that dog don't hunt.
Yeah, that's what's so frustrating about reading the news this morning about that is that they're saying, lots of outlets are saying these different little angles on that, saying, yeah, well, Trump just doesn't want, he's trying to get out of the debate. Trump wants to debate as much as possible.
Yeah.
He keeps putting that out there, and they've only agreed to one.
Trump's trying to get out of the debate, but he also is like, hey, I agreed to Fox debate. I agreed to an ABC and NBC. I agreed to a debate on this channel. He agreed to all these debates. Harris is the one who's like, nah, I'm just doing the ABC one.
Anytime, anywhere. And the only thing that, I mean, what do you got to tread more lightly on? The idea that you are going to debate an old, feeble man or an inarticulate.
Inartful?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's Trump. An inarticulate female. I tried to say that artfully.
That was well done.
Thank you. Well, I mean, because there are challenges with both of those. We talked about it on the air. He could go on there and knock them, not literally, dead with facts and criticisms and go hard at Joe Biden. And if he looks like an old, feeble man, then he'd have to, curtail how he delivers those messages. And he did. Same thing with a female. He can't go up there and look like he's badgering a female to some extent, but he also can't take it easy on her. And he doesn't, it's not even in his genetics to go up there and pull a punch. He just needs to do it in an artful way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everything I've read from this morning suggests that Kamala Harris's team is trying to get as much longer opening statements, longer closing statements, basically as much scripted material into those debates
Which
as possible.
Still wouldn't be scripted, but she'd have to memorize it.
There'd be more there to memorize and less time for actual debate. So I'm actually surprised that they don't want muted mics. If that's, who knows what's actually happening? Who's saying what about what? But I would be surprised if they wouldn't, because if they have muted mics, it gives her more of an opportunity to stand and deliver prepared lines.
Yeah, but what if she wants the zinger?
Well, that would all be written.
Trump interrupts her, and she's got a scripted line she wants to use.
See, if Trump's able to interrupt her, though, it's going to throw her off.
She says, "Excuse me,
more.
I'm talking."
It's going to throw her off more, though.
Not if she's ready for it.
Nah.
If that's the plan, she'll be prepared for that.
I'm going to go back to my tweet, my very, very deep tweet from earlier. I don't think people like her. And I think that the lack of questioning and challenge that she's been up against, I don't know any serious people who are super excited about Kamala Harris. I know people who hate Trump. Like it's part of their being. And they're happy that Biden dropped out. And they like Kamala Harris, but they don't believe that she's going to win. And I think, I'm wondering, the three of us in here would relish Donald Trump taking her down in that debate. Not with name calling, but with fact after fact, calling her out on her bologna sausage 6 ways to Sunday. There is no part of me that would be like, oh gosh, you're being a little rough on her. None. No. You want equality. You want to be in the boardroom. You want to have your voice be an equal voice, if not a bigger voice. Then show up and put up. Because when Kamala Harris is standing up at the podium, the reality of the rules that are set by her side of the aisle suggests that this is an equal fair fight and that she has the right to be there and to throw punches and to be in there with the big boys because, I mean, what are boys anyway? But the idea that she can be a part of this conversation to access the most powerful office in the world, we're supposed to believe that we should go easy on her? You want the person who gets into the presidency to have gotten there because people pulled punches? No. And if you really want to like girl power the whole thing, then you go in there and you take it like a man and you give it back like a woman. You do whatever you got to do. Put the gender wherever you need to put the gender, but you hold your own and you prove to the American people while you're doing it. And honestly, the world that will be watching that this gender thing doesn't play, that everybody here is equal, that the way that the man is treating the woman, if Donald Trump were to go in there and pull punches, he would be treating her like a woman in a way that was disrespectful to her as a woman in that position. And I think that that's something that would probably be hard for postmodern feminists who can't figure out what they actually want in life because they're incredibly unhappy. Because the natural order of things, the idea that women are somehow superior to men now, and the only way for women to have equality is for men to have inferiority, and you feel the need to remind men about that every opportunity that you get. Like, you want to put a man and a woman in a boardroom or at podiums at a debate and have them be truly equal. Honestly, Kamala Harris's femininity is the thing that could win her that debate. If she leans into the thing that makes her a woman, her femininity, that could be the most strength she has at the debate. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that she acts meek. That doesn't mean she acts weak or stupid or, unstudied. But she could act feminine. And if she did that, it would be embracing everything that they stand against, which is just the funniest thing of it to me. Like the thing that she could do to go in there and really persuade people. I mean, honestly, in theory, is the thing that they hate the most, which is that she could go up there and act like a woman.
You don't think China and Iran would go easy on her for 4 years because she's a woman? You don't think like the power of the dollar would maybe stop sliding because she's a woman?
I don't know. I think femininity is the one thing that's brought the most powerful men to their knees and crumbled men of power more than anything else that is out there. And I just think that trying to talk out of both sides of your mouth where she needs to be in there and be treated like an equal because men and women are equal. And to suggest that they are equal has nothing to do with the fact that they are not the same. You could be equal and different at the same time. Your equality has nothing to do with your similarity to another person. To do that, but then what we will inevitably see if Donald Trump does take it hard to her in that debate, he's got to pay attention to the fact that he's talking to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
He just does. And the left, because they're very good at identity politics, will work to try to use that to their advantage. I cannot wait to hear somebody on MSNBC talk. They will say that Donald Trump seems to be intimidated by strong, powerful women.
Yeah, mark the tape. You know it's coming.
Yeah. Insert here. There. Mark that for the short for later. Let's take a quick break. Do you have a strong opinion on who you think is more unlikable?
I do.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's Trump.
You think Trump is more unlikable? Brad, you?
I do. I have a strong opinion. It might surprise you.
Who?
I think it's Trump.
2 for 2. All right.
I tell you why, though. I got to tell you why.
When we come back, don't go away.
Rocky Top, half bear, the other half cat. Wild as a mink, but sweet.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I still dream about that.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee.
The Diamond Shop, online at thediamondshop.net. If you are shopping for someone special, make sure that you partake in this Diamond Shop special that they have going on right now, all through the month of August. 30% off all in-stock jewelry. This is a great opportunity to get yourself something absolutely stunning and beautiful for yourself, for your loved one, at 30% off. That's pretty great. If you go online and you become a VIP, you can learn about the offers that they have for VIPs especially, but you can save 10% off extra when you have VIP specials available, and it's on most things that you're going to purchase. So go online to thediamondshop.net. You're going to be able to meet some of the people who are behind the Diamond Shop, this family-owned and operated business since 1910 here in St. Louis, now located in Clayton. You can learn about the different products that they have: engagement rings, wedding rings, watches, jewelry for men, jewelry for women, everything in between. It's all there at the Diamond Shop, and they're wonderful people excited to meet you. Like I said, you can go online to become a VIP. Go to the homepage, scroll to the bottom, fill up the quick form, and start saving. Thediamondshop.net.
You want certainty and the most money, right? Hi, it's Mark Cox, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know the only agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first and only call when looking for an agent. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. No, she provides written guarantees. Now, what does this mean for you? Certainty. Now, certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. For a limited time, save $55 off a new water heater. Air Comfort Service not only installs attic insulation and HVAC systems, they also install water heaters. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Odyssey is your home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today to listen to 97.1 FM Talk, even when you don't have a radio. Always streaming at 971talk.com. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Brian just suggested that this is what Kamala Harris should walk out to. Wouldn't it be cool if they had, like, NBA level walkout? Like, you remember Sirius, Alan Parsons Project, 90s Bulls?
Mm-hmm.
So good. Laser shows.
Isn't the song that the Bulls' opponent would come out to was a Pink Floyd song? It was like, it's from Dark Side of the Moon, I think. That's the only one I remember because I don't remember the Bulls one. I just remember the other one.
I don't know.
Okay.
I know more about the 90s Bulls than anything else, NBA, and Alan Parsons Project Sirius was like iconic in the concept of entering a gymnasium.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if it was your 6th grade basketball team.
Yeah.
Without laser shows.
Yeah.
You felt like it was for you.
I'll have to disagree with you. I don't think they should do entrance songs for debates or anything. That is Kamala's territory. They are
Vibes?
really good at the vibes. I really would like to see them walk out and you hear every footstep and then you hear somebody go, okay, we're going to ask you questions
It's
now.
like the bad lip readings.
Yeah.
I think that Trump is good at it too. Just because that's all that Kamala is good at, it makes it seem like it's a bigger deal.
Fair.
I
concede.
The YouTube live chat poll for today is who is more unlikable. I asked you both before the break who you thought it was. You both said Trump. Why?
Well, I tried to put myself in the footsteps of, I just said footsteps twice in two different metaphors. Gosh. Get it together, Ryan.
It's Monday.
I tried to put myself into the shirt and pants of an average American. And somebody who's not paying attention to politics, who's just kind of feeling the lay of the land with this election. You might have thoughts about who you're going to vote for already, but you're basing the way you feel about a candidate.
Vote far. You said it like a
St. Louisan?
Not like an Illinois St. Louisan.
Oh, good.
But like one of the Western
I'm trying to
ones.
become an adopted Missouri resident,
Yeah.
so I'm working on it.
Missouri.
No. Missouri right here.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm just feeling what is being pushed out, Kamala is more likable. And I'm basing it on that because they're doing everything in their power to make you feel good about somebody that they did not like 3 months ago. And they're doing a good job of that because that's what they do. So right now, I'd say Trump. Now, that doesn't mean that I would, if I were sitting down with both these candidates and not voting for it and just sitting and having a sandwich with one of them, not a beer, because that's what everybody always says. I'm trying to do things
Are
differently.
you still wearing your pants and shirt?
I'm naked. Candidates are not. Candidates are clothed.
Ham and cheese.
Yeah. Just give me whatever sandwich. I feel uncomfortable. I'm probably going to use the bread to cover my nipples.
That's what you're covering?
Yeah. So I'm not really sure how we got here. But the fact that
I ask myself that every day.
if I'm sitting with the candidates, I probably like Trump better. He seems like a more enjoyable guy to just hang out with than Kamala. But as far as the media landscape, Trump is less likable.
I agree with you. And
that's because I'm right.
And I disagree with you.
No, that's stupid.
I agree with you that I think Donald Trump is more unlikable because the things that get highlighted about Trump are only ever the bad things. And everybody has bad things. And the things that Donald Trump does that most people don't like, I don't really like him either. I also don't lose sleep over it. I also don't need him to use words that make me feel good to vote for him for president because he, being the president, is in my best interest. That's an intellectual conclusion I'm capable of coming to by myself. But the way that Donald Trump is portrayed, only the unlikable things about him are put out there, and then he doesn't really work to change that perception. So he kind of doubles down on it because that's who he is. The things that people don't like about him, like if you only ever heard that someone was calling people names, but you knew nothing about what they did that was good, you probably wouldn't like that person. Now, if you got to meet them and sit down and have a naked sandwich with them.
Like you do.
No, I do not. You might find yourself to be like, wow, this is not at all what I thought you to be. What I disagree with you about is that Harris is more likable. I think Donald Trump is both more unlikable and more likable at the same time. I think that once people give themselves permission to consider the possibility that Donald Trump isn't Satan incarnate, and they start looking at him because the comparison is a communist on the other side in some respects, I think that people start to go, well, that was kind of funny when he did that. And you only really need to have it happen once or see Donald Trump not taking himself seriously, which he does all the time, once. Or a guy like Theo Von once to go, I don't know if I've been getting this right. So I think that he has higher unlikability and higher likability, and it just really matters on how much of your own research and input you're going to have and how you come to that conclusion. If you don't put a lot of effort in, if you let the mainstream media do all your thinking for you, which makes them so happy, he's way more unlikable. Kamala Harris is an NPC, as they say. She's there.
Wow, that is a great example of who she is. I never would have. That's great.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Are you mocking me?
No, I really like that. I'm going to go have a naked sandwich. I'm feeling good. I'm going to sit down and have a naked
Just
sandwich
make sure
with
you
the
go to
boss.
Camel X when you do it. When you think about Kamala Harris and who she is, she's just whoever anybody needs her to be. And it's so obvious. They're not even trying to hide it. And when people are like, you need to answer questions, they're like, no, we don't. Don't need to.
By the way, if you're hearing this and you're like, what is NPC? Non-playable character in a video game. Just to clear that up, because I know there's probably a lot of people.
So when you hear me say that, explain what you heard. Like why you.
So she's a non-playable character because she is just a placeholder person in a game. That's what an NPC
Scripted
is.
lines.
Yeah.
You got 4 options you can select from them.
You can interact with the character, but the character is just going to give you back kind of what you need
pre-programmed
for the game.
To move the story along.
Yep, that's it.
Not the main character.
Yeah.
So,
and you know who has main character energy.
Oh, I think I do.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you, Ryan.
Oh.
Donald Trump.
Okay.
So I took a similar approach to this that Ryan did. I didn't look at, because if it was just me, Kamala Harris is just really unlikable. And not like I hate her kind of way, just like, ugh, just annoying and off-putting and that sort of thing. Strong NPC energy, not a lot of real substance to her, and just with a few quirks. And because those are fake, I don't like them. But I looked at this kind of like Ryan did, except I looked at it from other people's point of view, mainly Democrats. Nobody gets into people's heads and breaks them and makes them hate him more than Donald Trump. I've never seen anything like it. It was so much so that he got Adam Kinzinger to go to the DNC and say the only way to be conservative is to vote for the most liberal candidate in history.
God dang it. I didn't even know what he said I was really proud of not knowing what he
Not
said.
even paying
I
attention.
saw that he was there and I was like, is this the B? Is this the B? Is this not the B? He went to the DNC? Gosh dang it.
Well, the other thing is, too, when you look at the two, only one of them has ever been shot. And you don't shoot somebody that you like.
That's a fact. This is true.
The pure...
And your NPC stuff?
That sounds like something Trump would say.
Yeah. He just beat it.
It's true.
Yeah.
But the amount of pure, unadulterated dislike and, dare I say, hatred is so concentrated on the left. So I don't think as a widespread thing, but the depth of the hatred on Donald Trump just makes him the most unlikable of the two. And it's just because there's crazies out there that can't get past it.
It's funny to think about. I mean, NPC and main character stuff, that's like kid lingo. And I have kids, so I am aware of it. And I said in a volleyball huddle last week, understood the assignment. And I even was like, I even introduced the fact that I was going to say it because it was the perfect way to say what I was trying to articulate in this thing. I kind of like chuckled and was like, maybe some of you will think this is funny. And I said, they understood the assignment. And these girls were like, oh my gosh, did you hear what she just said? Like, they thought that I was a Martian from another land that came in and understood English and delivered. So I speak this enough to mostly so I can understand my children when they're talking to each other or to other people. And the NPC thing, it's like a video game thing. So if you never played video games, you wouldn't know that. But everybody can understand what main character energy is. If you think about watching a movie and you think about the likes of, you know, these huge name actors who, you know, the entire story is revolving around them. They're not the only person in the movie. There are just a bunch of other people who need to be present for the movie to progress through for this individual person. There has never been a bigger main character than Donald Trump in politics.
No, he might be the biggest main character almost in like the last 400 years as far as being well known in the globe.
You could put Barack Obama up next to him. I think he has main character energy, but there's still a portion of him that really seems to reflect a pre-programmed outcome. And with Donald Trump, I don't know what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
And you have to stay tuned in and locked in. That's another one. In order to determine what's going to happen next. Because he leads. Because he thinks for himself. Going back to that comment that we played earlier from him when they said, what are you doing to prepare for the debate? He's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm prepared. My experience prepares me for this. I know the facts. I know the issues. Let's go do it right now. That's what you want. That's what you need. And you think to yourself, like, what would it be like for Kamala Harris, who has no main character energy, to be the president of the United States? It would look like Joe Biden. Joe Biden is on vacation number 2 on today being the 3rd anniversary of the Afghanistan debacle, where he checked his watch on the tarmac when their bodies were being returned to this country. I mean, it is so nauseating to think that the Democrat Party has willfully puppeted the presidency for this long, and I think they're addicted to it. I think they really love it, and I think that's why Kamala makes sense for them. I just pray to God that the country goes, we're not interested in it. We're not doing it. Let us know what you think. You go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you can vote. A couple comments here from listeners. Betsy says, no respect for our military. Flip-flop to whatever she feels her audience wants to hear. No policies to date of her own, and otherwise no original thoughts, period. So I guess she's saying Harris. Chris said Harris. No one liked her as a VP. Nothing's changed. Christopher Tyrell says Kamala least likable. I can't stand hypocrisy in her career is in complete contrast to her stances. Top cop falsifying evidence to get people in jail, level of prosecutor to defund police. How? Keep your comments coming. Keep your votes coming. We'll give you the results before we wrap up the show next. Don't go away.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Cassins & Sons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. I love Cassins. They take such great care of our vehicles and our family, which is why we go back to purchase our vehicles from them. I trust them wholeheartedly. And right now, through the end of August, so hurry up and give them a call. I'll give you the number here in just a second. They have 0% available on most new Jeeps. It's a great opportunity to get into that Jeep you've been thinking of, dreaming of. My family owns and loves our Jeep Grand Cherokee. If you're looking for a Jeep for yourself, now is the time to contact Cassens & Sons and get that process started. The number to call them, and make sure that you get this conversation going now so you can enjoy that 0% available on most new Jeeps, 618-800-2712, 618-800-2712. And Cassens will remind you when others can't, Cassens can. And they have for the Fry family. I'm so grateful for them, their service department, the salespeople there that check in and make sure that everything is going great. A relationship that you can count on, and especially one that you can trust. That's what you get when you shop at Cassens. Cassens & Sons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, CassensCan.com.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris? That's today's poll. It's only a few words, but we want to know what you think. And I'm actually very curious to see if Trump or Harris is the answer to this question for you. We'll find out the results of this poll in just a couple minutes as our show ends at 2:56/3 o'clock. YouTube live chat poll, that's how you find it, and that's where you vote. 247, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting set to go here on a Monday. A few updates from the weekend. Also at 3:25, Batya Ungar-Sargon. I like to call her our favorite reformed liberal. She'll join us. We also have Sue's News in the 4 o'clock hour, plus an audio cut of the day and more, all coming up after Fox News.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
This is huge. Donald Trump has garnered yet another endorsement. Waka Flocka.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
I'm still voting for Trump. Let's be clear.
Okay.
Waka Flocka. What is just? Can you sing one of his songs for me real quick?
No, I can't because I have no idea. I would if I could.
He's a rapper from Atlanta.
Okay.
That's it. Don't say okay like I'm gonna say more.
Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Waka Flocka Flame?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure if it's the same guy.
Man, it's the widest conversation that's ever happened on
I
this
don't know.
station.
I don't know.
It's really something.
No, I don't think so. I think that if you turn it into a gardening show or something like that, maybe.
The YouTube live chat poll for today is who is more unlikable, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? You can go onto the Odyssey app and find 97.1 FM Talk. And when you go to click the play button next to the station, there's a microphone. And you can record a response or send us a message anytime, noon to 3 on the app. But we will sometimes take some of those clips and play them, especially when you respond to the poll question like today is who is more unlikable? Here's Eric.
For your polling today, I say that Donald Trump is less likable. For one reason. We know who Donald Trump is. We know what he's about. So we are able to not like him. We cannot say that for Kamala Harris. We don't know her. You can't like somebody or dislike somebody you don't know. Come on, people.
It's true. I mean, the more you're aware of it, the more you can find the things that you like and also the things you don't like. And Kamala Harris is just meandering her way through this, I think, just trying to hold her breath until the thing is over.
Mm-hmm.
And they might be able to pull it off. It's not outside of the realm of possibility that she could win this thing.
Yeah, it's amazing that Joe Biden didn't do a lot in 2020. They call him hiding Biden, basement Biden, all that stuff. She's actually doing less than Biden did in 2020, which is amazing. It's a less time, so she might be able to pull it off, but she is doing less than he did. And there's no COVID.
Yeah, there's no good excuse for it. Kevin O'Leary, I really like to listen to him when he speaks because it comes from a little bit of a different angle, talked on the issue.
If, in fact, Harris loses, and it's 50-50, she may win, she may lose, this whole party, the Democratic Party, is going to revisit what happened here because they did the same thing with Hillary Clinton. It was assumed she would win. They anointed her. She lost. Harris is assumed a winner by anointment. If she loses, the party will never do this to itself again because they missed the opportunity to run a process and suck up another week of airtime, and they didn't do it. Now, I'm not saying she's going to lose, but I would have never let that happen if I'm selling a business. I tell my managers, never bring me one offer. Bring me a process. Show me there's no other bid out there that I want. Then I'll make a decision if I'm selling. I was amazed they didn't do that here because Newsom made reference to it. There may have been other candidates, or she could have emerged much stronger, but they didn't do that. That may prove to be a huge mistake.
I don't know that the Democrat Party, I don't know that they're going to learn their lesson here. I think the only lesson to learn was that Joe Biden should have stuck with his initial campaign promise to not run for a second term. I really wonder if Joe Biden stepped out of line. If Joe Biden said one thing at one point and then went, you know what, I'm the president of the United States. I can run again. I can say I can run again if I want to. How long has he not been in lockstep with the Democrat Party? And how much of Joe Biden's presidency has been behind the scenes tug and pull within the Democrat Party and the people who lead it? Because it's just like it went way too long. As everybody who listens to the show regularly knows, I've said forever that he's not going to be the candidate. But it was getting to the point where it's like, it looks like he could potentially be the candidate. Maybe I'm going to be wrong on this. But they waited so long to do it that I feel like this couldn't have been what they wanted to happen. This couldn't have been how they wanted it to happen. What is the actual, where is the danger in running a primary and letting the Democrat candidates go about the business the same way the Republicans do? And if Kamala Harris is the heir apparent to the nomination, it would have gone a lot like the Republicans did, where you had honest conversations about policy. You pit different Democrats up against one another to talk about the nuances and the differences and how you would manage these different policies. But the people naturally would go state to state to state to state, regardless of Kamala Harris's participation in it as the vice president. If she felt like it was beneath her to do that, she could have sat out. Trump did. And if she's still who the people wanted, they'd have voted for her. You really have to ask yourself, what did the Democrat apparatus feel was threatened if they didn't get to handpick the person.
Yeah, and Joe Concha said this earlier. That clip from Kevin O'Leary just said it. When you go through that process, it makes them stronger. Joe Concha said specifically that Tulsi Gabbard had won more delegates for the Democrats than Kamala Harris has. That's true. And that was when Kamala Harris was running, not just as vice president. It inspired me to look up this year who won more Democrat delegates than Kamala Harris this year. Dean Phillips, Jason Palmer.
He's the guy in
Samoa.
American Samoa.
Oh, is that? I couldn't figure out who is this guy?
Yes. Joe Biden didn't win that one, right? Didn't
Right,
he?
right.
Jason Palmer?
Yeah, he won it.
Yeah, Joe Biden's the other one. And then this one's still ahead of Kamala Harris, uncommitted. Uncommitted had quite a few delegates.
Yeah, literally anybody.
Yes, and she was not one of them. Yet she got anointed and put up and told to the Democrats, this is who you get. This is who you're voting for. We know we didn't have a process for this, but this is who you get.
Scoot says Mrs. F said many times that Michelle Obama would be at the top of the Democrats' ticket. And after the DNC last week, I thank God they didn't make that move.
No kidding.
Oh, man. I'm so glad they chose. To his point, yes, I was wrong. Thank God. Good choice. Kamala Harris.
Hey, I was wrong too. I said Biden, and the later it got, the more confident I became in that choice, and still they did it.
Real quick before I read the poll results as to who is more unlikable, Trump or Harris, you guys think that the Tulsi Gabbard endorsement really moves the needle at all, or was that kind of a foregone conclusion?
Well, in the shadow of RFK, I think it matters. I don't know that it moves a whole lot, but it can't hurt.
I think it was already baked in.
Yeah, I the only way that it would matter is, like Ryan said, is that if it's just an extra snowflake on the snowball, and I hope to see more people glob onto that as well. Our Annie Fry YouTube poll for today, 319 votes. Who is more unlikable? 81% of y'all said Harris. And
Okay.
I didn't tell you who I would think yet definitively, but we were 3 for 3 Trump in here.
Okay.
I think Donald Trump is more unlikable, but I think the converse, he's also more likable. Kamala Harris, she's just there. Hopefully not for long, though. Let's fix that. Stick around. Mark Reardon, next.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
You know, I always said for years to save my number in your phone so you don't forget. And here's why. Today, I was calling the office. So I mentioned the office number. Probably have said it, not to exaggerate, over 1,000 times. I called the office today and I dialed the wrong number. When it connected, it said number you call not in order, not in use, whatever they say that. Now I am freaking out. I'm a very small business owner, and that's my lifeline. Very long story to try to make it shorter. And if Andrew can do this, I'm producing it. That's why I say save the number in your phone. Save it under Bart. That's with a B. You can save it under air conditioning. That's with an A. Or whatever helps you remember, because if your memory is like mine, it's easy to forget. 314-293-2600. That's Bart with a B.
The Retirement Advisory Group's talking to you. I'm talking to you, the one who is in their late 50s, early 60s. Retirement is right around the corner, and you need to make the right moves. And you need to make the right moves right now. That's the Retirement Advisory Group. That's what they do. And when you contact Bob and Tammy Kershaw and you reach out to Thomas Helbig and you start that conversation about your retirement and the moves you need to make to transition smoothly and confidently, this is where you go. If you want to reach out to them at 314-993-9494, you can schedule a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review where they will go over what they can do for you to make sure that you make those right moves. They'll listen to where you are right now, what you've saved, what you have worked hard for, and what retirement looks like for you. That free consultation, you can leave it with zero obligation. But make sure when you call them, you set up this appointment. You mentioned that you heard about it on the Annie Fry Show. 314-993-9494. Online at retirementkey.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com.